Welcome to Dr. Morse's YouTube channel. Have a question? Send it to questions@naturesbotanicalpharmacy.com. Visit us online, drmorsesherbalhealthclub.com.
We're on?
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, Drewski.
Welcome back.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back. I had to get a little mountain air there for a few days after classes. It's always good to kind of chill out up in the mountains a little bit and get some of that fresh air and not so good food any. So, yeah, no mountain air down here now. Oh, I want to thank Lysandra. What is this? This mango madness. Yeah, heck yeah. This place down on outside of Baja. Wow, that would be cool. This guy's got what? 145 mango trees, 45 avocado trees, 85 papaya trees, 60 banana trees. Holy moly. Sounds like a pretty dang cool place. So, places like this we need bad all over for those that wish to go somewhere to have some peace and detoxify, especially if the people don't charge an arm and a leg for it. And stay over there, get a decent price with that. I think Our Lady over here, she has like a assisted living type thing in her home, big place with pools and everything, and I think hers is $200 a night, and she supplies all the organic produce. I mean, she gets some of the biggest friggin' grapes I've ever seen, but those that come to stay that need a little time, she takes care of you there. But places like this is essential, I think, all around the world, or wherever we can establish them. Baja California, I take it, Mexico, so to speak. I love stuff like that, Lysandra. Tell you the truth, you're right on. Good job. These are the things that we need to do here. I wanted to go over a case with you all. This is the case that a practitioner asked me to look at, and I won't mention any names, but we'll go over this case because some of these cases are tough cases for some people, and I don't want any of you to freak out when you start having more tough cases coming your way. And I know a lot of you are diving right in right now with some tough cases, and I'm so proud of each and every one of you, because the bottom line is you only have one walk, in my opinion. We can argue about definitions of foods and which one's better for which. Things are obvious though when you wear the robe and you ride the Bronco. You know what's up. So those people that are experienced don't need to have somebody tell them, because they've already experienced, and that's what's happening to you guys. I'm pulling you guys into the higher levels of fruit detox, which is really not even detox. Fruit eating is not even detoxification. Not really. That's just a lifestyle. That's a tropical diet. But it detoxifies you because that's how far away we are from normacy. We're so far away from normacy that even vegetables will detoxify some people for a while. But then you'll all reach plateaus with veggies. There's no question about it. And then you can move deeper into this, or you can jump however you wish to do that. But these are just typical diets, not detoxification. Detoxification is really a water and a fasting experience. We say that just to put a name on it, because the mind, remember, the mind likes to chew on names and chew on comparisons and relationships and stuff like that. That's the mental capacity. It isn't the awareness behind all things, but it's that mental mind, that thing that categorizes, analyzes, diagnoses, things like that. Then so I want to read this case because, and then I got so many of you guys wrote in here, so I haven't even had a chance to review any of them, rarely do anyway, so we'll go down and go through some of these and try to give you as much time today, and then maybe over the weekend I can come in here and do the same, and I keep saying that. Anyway, this is a 47-year-old male, 47 years old, not quite 50 yet. Before November of 13, okay, so that was last November. Before that, he was a very active, happy, healthy husband, father of 2 amazing kids, right? On November 2nd, his wife found him on the bathroom floor, passed out. She called 911. He was hospitalized for several weeks. Diagnosis, alveoli hemorrhage. The alveoli of the lungs is the air sacs of the lungs at the end of the bronchial little capillaries, if you will, so to speak. You know, so, and I want to go over this, but let me read this case here. They call it autoimmune. And, you know, again, disgusting words when you're autoimmune, because we're going to take a look at this, what causes hemorrhages and how, what's up here. So that means that he had bleeding in the lungs. You know, he hemorrhaged in the lungs. Tested for lupus, negative. He started on a course of this this particular drug, and then continued on some prednisone at home and weaned off. But each time he weaned, he began to bleed again. So several other hospital admissions have occurred until present. The same regimen is ongoing here. Now listen, this is when you use a homeostatic, and that's where the herbal kingdom has some great herbs. Homeostatic is that which checks internal bleeding. And we have a good form, it's called bleeding for it, but it's for internal bleeding. When you have a case that bleeds like this, because you got to get them off the prednisone, you've got to get them off of this anti-inflammatories, because it'll just wreck his adrenals, which is already going to be, and you're going to see here that that's already part and parcel to his problem. You know, is the adrenal glands. And so this is going to put him worse and worse and deeper into problems here while we're holding off symptoms. And I don't blame him on trying to check bleeding. You got to do that. But at the same time, you want to use a homeostatic to do it, one that's non-toxic and one that doesn't hurt you, because there are several things you want to do here with this person in a timely manner. So let me go on here a little bit. Now, he's on 4 liters of oxygen. When you see these people with COPD and stuff, they're generally on 2 liters. 4 liters is a lot of oxygen. So there's more going on here, and you'll see here. He is now at home for 6 months, unable to work. He is on oxygen, 4 liters all the time. And if he sits still, he is short of breath. But it moves around the house, he is gasping for air. No kidding. I feel sorry for this guy. He's 47 years old, but this is coming in so many cases out there. They have now started on another drug called Cellcept, a brand name, active ingredients. Let's see, the drug, of course, is 8 weeks, and he is on 2nd week. He has had an open lung biopsy that was negative. Tissue was sent to Mayo. His left diaphragm is paralyzed, and his stomach is pushed up. That's not that alone, of course, can compress the lungs. This is why in cases of COPD, when they're detoxifying, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, when their lungs are full of mucus, the nervous system's down in the lungs, they have a difficult time expectorating this thick mucus. That we get people to throw up. Because it compresses everything up, and it allows the lungs to eliminate mucus. I've done that many times in my life. Dr. Christopher talked a great deal about using lobelia to make people throw up or vomit, especially when things are trapped there, to get them to breathe again. You know, when you get yourself this far down the road, there's trouble. And this man probably had no clue. Of course, the steroids have caused diabetes and hypertension. Hypertension is obviously high blood pressure. So the steroids have caused diabetes and hypertension. How? The problem with him and all of us, as we've discussed on these videos, and we'll get into that a little more here, is the kidneys and the adrenal glands on top of them. So when you take prednisone or other steroids, or chemical type steroids in particular, but it's natural ones as well, you're going to find the breaking down or the weakening of the respective tissue. So the problem is that when you're using a steroid, you still can affect the medulla of the adrenals, which is the neurotransmitters. So you can just affect the whole adrenal gland and shut it down. Well, that sits on top of the kidneys and obviously controls sodium-potassium balances, and this you can go on and on and on with mineral corticosteroids and utilizations and things like that. But also the diabetes, the sugar metabolism, that's the adrenal glands. So you're back to the adrenal glands again, and just a little bit of prednisone, because it doesn't sound like he's been on it long, tripped him right into type 2. And that again, that means he's not metabolizing his sugar. So already you know his adrenal glands are real low. To be on a short-term prednisone and then flip yourself into type 2, that shows already a very weak adrenal gland. And of course then you can also go right into the fact that he isn't filtering well from the kidneys from that. The hypertension, of course, just goes to speak that it's shutting down the kidneys even more, and now he's getting hypertension from that, particularly if it's the diastolic. If it's the systolic, it's just hyperactive adrenal glands. He has antiphospholipid antibodies, which is interesting. He has been on Coumadin for many years. How interesting is that? He's been on Coumadin for many years. So you have to look up the side effects of Coumadin in terms of connective tissue weaknesses and what it does to the calciums in the body and things like this to draw a relationship between that and the hemorrhage, if you indeed can. So that'd be something I'd be looking at, considering he's been on that for extended periods of time. So that brings you back to why was he on Coumadin? And to be on Coumadin, he had to have some vascular occlusions. He had to have an MI, stroke, heart attack in the past, or some suspicion of that. To be on Coumadin for years like that, at 47 years old. So the question is, why? Now he's had low platelets. Low platelets, 75,000 to 90,000. Platelets, that's what makes you clot, obviously. So these platelets, you want them to be, I like platelets over 200,000, to be honest with you. When you start getting below 100, you're getting in trouble. And that means that you can bleed out. So the problem with this is that if he bleeds in the lungs, he could bleed out here if he gets too low. And too low would be going around down to 20,000 and below. Now you're in deep, deep trouble. They don't do surgeries on low platelets, things like this, because you'll bleed out on the table. You can't clot. But he's been on Coumadin to stop that. So you have to really examine the modus operandi, the active principles of the chemicals in Coumadin, and exactly why. It's been because it has rat poison chemicals in it. It's been referred to as rat poison by those that don't like chemical medications. But this chemistry, you have to see the effect on the platelets and how it's been affecting the spleen or the bone marrow. Because you have to look at Coumadin and its relationship to spleen and bone marrow tissue, and if it's affecting that, because this is dangerous stuff. And when you're on chemicals, if you think chemicals are healthy, there's something wrong up here on you. And so you've got to re-examine chemicals and realize that these are for short-term stat, meaning emergency cases only. You don't stay long-term on anything like that. You fix the problems. And this is the problem again with medical thinking. There's no remedy or fixing problems. They lump it, as this practitioner said, as an autoimmune condition. This is far from an autoimmune condition. Matter of fact, I consider there's no such thing. And we'll go back to that in a minute. No kidney involvement. I haven't seen a blood workup on this yet. I'd like to see the bun and creatinine on this guy, particularly the creatinine. Anything above point, my guess he's going to be 0.9 or above on this. Because of the steroids, he has gained a large amount of weight and eats constantly because of his hunger all the time. He has pneumonia on one admission and also asthma, and takes nebulizer treatments every 4 hours. So there's a lot going on here, isn't there? In other words, he just didn't have a hemorrhage. There's been a move toward that, correct? Okay, and we want to talk about that because autoimmune, that's vomitous. We want to talk what's going on in this young man and how do we fix this problem in this young man? Because there's things that have built up to this. Suddenly we see a pneumothorax, or we see a hemorrhage of the alveoli. We go, oh wow, what? But this has been building in this gentleman. He's had pneumonia in the past, means his lungs have been full of congestion. Even if they haven't heard it with the stethoscope, it's interstitial, coming out in the scope now. So you see that. Asthma means the neurological connection that goes back to the adrenals. So you can see a long history already of adrenals and kidneys with this guy. Lung congestion, all that mucus from probably dairy products or the type of foods he's been eating. He also had an adrenal hemorrhage. Holy crap. He also had an adrenal hemorrhage on one of his hospital admissions, so now his adrenals are shot. Well, this kid's in trouble, or kid, he's a grown man, but this guy's in trouble here. And the thing is, you might be able to draw a link to, if I was him, I'd be really researching Coumadin. Nice lawsuit right there, I think. He is not a candidate for a lung transplant. His new lungs would bleed as well. He also has a constant severe pain on left side, like a pleurisy. They have ruled out good pasture syndrome. He's on a standard American diet, etc., etc. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Remember, when you see most tissues, no matter whether it's lung tissue or kidney tissue or pancreatic tissue or liver tissue, it doesn't matter. We generally see the connective tissue, we see the cells that are the performance or the muscle, and then we see the mucosa. And we see this redundantly everywhere we go. And then within these tissues we see a blood supply, we see a lymph supply, and we see a nerve supply, right? And we know that these tissues, and another word for tissues would be a group of cells, correct? All right, specialized group of cells, because all cells are specialized. Some are muscle tissue, some are adrenal tissues, and then within those you have that which holds organs and glands in shape, which we loosely call connective tissue. And then we have the cells themselves, and then we have the mucosa. So we want to take a look at this, because when you see a hemorrhage or you see a petechia, a bruising easy, when you see a weakness that wants to aneurize or herniate, swell, give forth, break loose, then you know you're losing connective tissue integrity. So the first thing you're going to think about is parathyroid gland. Because let's take a look at this. We use the word autoimmune, but let's take a look at this realistically. This is all based upon what? Chemistry. This is all based upon chemistry. Everything is. So there's no autoimmune. Everything's based upon chemistry, ruled by physics. So chemistry, all right? So let's see what's going on here in this young man or this gentleman. All right, so chemistry. Chemistry only has two sides to it. Unfortunately, in biochemistry and in chemistry, organic chemistry, you have theories running a lot. To keep it simple, though, alkalis are only corrosive when they get up into the 14s. Your real corrosive chemistry is your acids. And so all things, and I've said this before, look at your Krebs cycles, look at your cycles, look at ascorbic acid. Part of the flavonoid complex. But as flavonoids are broken down, ascorbic acid is released, you start to see these acids are byproducts of all that you know, from osmosis to ionization to oxidation. I mean, just all the processes of life end in final stages. And those final stages in the processes of life are catabolic stages, are stages of acidosis, where acids are finally breaking down the tissues or breaking down whatever, breaking it down to atoms again. You don't see alkalis breaking down like that because they don't have the strength and the power. And the sad thing is, in medical dictionaries and things, they reference alkalis as strong corrosive substances, and that's not true. The acids are the strong corrosive substances, and always stealing the electrons, from base. So your base chemistry is more your electrolytes, your high electronic, so to speak, electrolytes, your ions and all these things that have been electrified by the absorption of the electrons. So this whole thing is understanding a little bit of physics in terms of electrons and protons, and how you see this game of movement of dense chemistry into non-dense chemistry, that just how this whole thing works. If you didn't know that, it's okay. Because the bottom line is that when you look at cell waste and you look at waste that are accumulating in the body, these are all acids. And acids are always met with some type of buffer or neutralization process, whether it's ionization, whatever it is. You'll see how this, or acids are created from that, as the process of breaking down and termination exists. So what I'm getting at here is that this man had to be very acidic in these tissues to lose the integrity of the connective tissue, so it allowed him to herniate those alveoli. Wherever it is, it can be, herniation can be anywhere. You know, we have people that bruise easy all the time. We have people that have aneurysms all the time, hernias, and all this is a sign of connective tissue weakness, which takes place in an acidic medium. Why? Because bone matrix is high calcium and phosphorus, particularly calcium, and that is a great place where we can borrow calcium to fight acidosis. So we end up, and I didn't mention any calcifications in the lungs, but it's enough to say that you're looking at either a parathyroid weakness in this body of this man, particularly if he had herniation in the adrenal glands, because being on steroids doesn't only necessitate herniations. So we have to take a look again at that sort of parathyroid weakness in this gentleman and take a look at his case and see if his case runs down, and it wouldn't hurt to bring that up anyway, because you want to strengthen connective tissue. Now, could it be a genetic weakness in that tissue? Absolutely. He could have had a neurothorax, his father, his grandfather. He could have had trauma, in other words, to the lungs. Could have had just from high dairy products consumption. Could have had mucus at grandfather, that sort of thing, weakening the alveoli, weakening the bronchioles, weakening the lung tissue. And then, of course, as this gentleman comes down, he's got a weakness. And as acids build up, the lymph system swells and inflames and removes calcium. Then you start to see the herniations or the breakdown of connective tissue, and then you start to see the veins and all these sort of problems that one's having here. So that's the one thing you want to look at. It doesn't matter though, because you need to strengthen connective tissue. So the first thing that you always have to remember on every case is the acidosis factor. You must hydrate this individual. And looking at just kind of surface reading this and overlooking, he's been on Coumadin for years, so he's had lymphatic problems for years, meaning he's had kidney and adrenal problems for years. So you have to go in and fix this guy from the very beginning. You have to go back and get his kidneys up, just like you guys know. You got to get his kidneys filtering, check the urine. This is key. So you're going to hit this guy pretty hard. You're going to start him out on the 2-week just to deworm him and everything else. On the lungs, I would definitely add a parathyroid glandular on this, and I would add the Bones formula with it. And the reason for the Bones formula, it strengthens connective tissue and skeletal tissue. So you add that to a parathyroid kicker, which is an increase of parathormone, you're going to then strengthen connective tissue. Even if you're aggressively kind of promoting that, who cares? Because you've got to get this guy to stop bleeding. So you're going to use a blood formula or a bleeding formula as a homeostatic to stop and check internal bleeding. At the same time, you're going to shift him away from all acid foods, because as long as he's on a standard American diet, this guy's walking to Hellville or a Graveville. So this is the thing, is you've got to pull him back and get him on a high fruit diet. Why? High flavonoids. Flavonoids, they strengthen vascular walls. They strengthen the connective tissue. So definitely lower circulation would be another one I would probably use, because it will strengthen the vascular wall. So fruit is key for this, but it's also key for what else? The kidneys and the lymphatic system, the very system that's having trouble with. Also, if he has congestion build up interstitially, then he's got a lot of mucus, and this stuff's going to want to come out. The problem is he's already herniated in these air sacs, and this is a big friggin' deal, because he's got to breathe, except at the same time he's got expectorate. I probably wouldn't touch the lung formula right now with him. I'd get the kidneys worked out. I'd get the adrenals up. I'd definitely get him on adrenal glandular, 400 milligrams at least, and start moving him away from prednisone, because you're with the adrenal steroid, or with the adrenal glandular, you're enhancing his adrenal production of his own corticosteroids, which should have been handling this problem right in the beginning, but also connective tissue weakness, whether it's a genetic weakness in that particular area or it's just the fact that his body's gotten so acidic, because now you see an adrenal hemorrhage, you see a lung hemorrhage. This is serious stuff. So you really want to get to this guy's parathyroid and kick this up. At the same time, herbs to strengthen his, quick the connective tissue. At the same time, you're removing all acidosis out of this man, because you have to. Because outside of that, he can't come out of this. What else we got going on this guy? I mean, this is all the information that I have. But if you had a lot of information on this, all right, his diaphragm is paralyzed and his stomach is pushed up. Well, here again, why fruit? It is the fastest way to unparalyze the human body. It is the fastest way to turn on the autonomic nervous system. And getting those adrenals up, this already shows he had myelin sheath weakness for years. So this is already showing you an individual that's had these weaknesses. When you read a case, don't just look at what happened now. Go back and say, what's been building in this guy for this to happen? Because you all know that we swim in the world of chemistry. So when you see a symptom, whether it's lupus, Lyme's, whatever no matter what medical doctors call autoimmune, everything is chemistry, guys. Every single thing. And when you see things breaking down, what side of chemistry are we on predominantly? When you start seeing things happen, you can go to chemistry. And of course, when you eat, when you drink, when you breathe, and when you put stuff on your skin, this is all chemistry. Everything is chemistry. And so you just have to simply understand, because if you make it too complex, you'll lose the case. And you don't need to lose this case. You can get this case up and strengthen his connective tissue as fast as possible. At the same time, you're putting him on high fruit, which is going to detoxify him faster. It's also going to enhance the nervous system as fast as you can. I'd also put this guy on brain and nerve too. I really would. And if I saw balding at 47 or gray hairs at 47, which is real possible with this man, I'd do upper circulation as well. I'd start getting this guy turned on, getting this body turned on, cleaned and strengthened. Because this is a case where you have to strengthen as you clean, because this guy is in trouble here in terms of these hemorrhages and with low platelets. Now here's another thing. Because he's been on Coumadin and things, I'd run him on the spleen formula for at least a month. I also, for myself, would hit him on a bone marrow formula for about a month. Because you want to get into this young man's bone marrow, and first of all, you want to understand, rethink Coumadin, rethink a blood viscosity, and understand that fruits keep the viscosity of the blood perfectly. Keeping the pH of the blood perfectly is ingesting chemistry in perfect balance. Well, the only food that's in perfect balance for Homo sapiens chemically is fruits, berries, and melons. Now, salads, we can deal with that, especially if we take the fiber out of it. Yeah, but this guy needs this. You could do green drinks on this guy. Wouldn't do salads. You want to take digestive power away. You want to take energy that would go to breaking down coarse foods and dealing with acid proteins and stuff. You want to get them out of the diet ASAP. Putting this guy on a high protein diet, you might as well give him, have him do his will and get him all set up, because there's no coming out of this on a high-protein diet. You'll continue to suck calcium out of the connective tissue. He'll herniate everywhere and hemorrhage everywhere. And it says, no, that's not the whole idea here. And if I was this young man, I'd be putting a lawyer on Coumadin, because this has got to stop. This kind of idiocy has got to stop. And medical thinking. You've got to turn these people around, because if not, this man can die real easily. So this is something, I don't see anything else here that's going to give me anything else. He's had pneumonia in the past, so not only is he congested, because they lump pneumonia and asthma, but be honest with you, the only difference is neurological. And the neurological side of that is the adrenal glands. And of course, bam, here's what we find. And we find that because he's been on prednisone for a short time, the adrenals went down. Well, that short of time shows you how weak it was in the beginning. So you're going to go right after him and go in that way. And I will contact this practitioner. And, well, yeah, this practitioner did a good job. The bleeding immune system formula, yeah, I think, yeah. So we'll be dealing with that case. But it's just, and I did this, so if this practitioner wants this person to review this video, please do, because this person has to get to a predominantly fruit diet. He could do a salad at night for a while, or a green drink. If you're going to do the green drinks, you want to power up. This would be a good case for comfrey. Comfrey's a name for Comfrey's knit bone. But the bones formula with the parathyroid helps strengthen the connective tissue with it. At the same time, you've got to hydrate and get this acidosis without him. He is going to go through probably another pneumonia case, particularly because I doubt seriously if they've done anything for that in terms of allowing him to expectorate all that mucus. They probably suppressed it. Now, nebulizing treatments are better than inhalers. Inhalers are just pure cancer causing. You know, Tampa Tribune did a big story on Aerobid and some of the inhalers showing how cancer-causing they are. And that was 15 years ago. Nebulizers, more loosening up mucus and stuff. Mucinex, if you want chemistry, Mucinex, you know, is done for that. But you want to take care of this gentleman ASAP, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Now, and I'd go full force in this case. I'd probably go 2 kidneys and 1 lymphatic for about a month to make sure that I'm getting the kidney filtration out of him. Be real easy on the lymph system, but the more that you can move this lymph system interstitially, but you got to clean the lymph nodes first. Remember, everything passes through the lymph nodes and everything else, and bring this interstitial fluid more into a base balance, and then you'll have not only a hydration, but you'll have a super strengthening then of the connective tissue. You'll check, in other words, the hemorrhaging of this person. But this is a stat need right here. Neva, hi sweetheart. I am losing hair. It is no more thick and healthy looking. I still have cellulite. It's even worse because the skin on those areas become thinner and older. I lose muscle. It look mushy on my arms, stomach, thighs, tushy. I am 80% raw for the last 2.5 years, 20% cooked, quinoa, veggies, and fish. I am out of herbs now. I want to know what else can I take. Let me see what she is. Is there anything else I can do? All right. I don't know if this is supposed to be read or not on there. It's in my big pile here. Well, it's one thing to say. Remember, when you start on these detoxification programs, you're going to see your weaknesses. You're going to experience your weaknesses. Do not be confused. This is typical detox. And you could talk to the natural hygienic people. You could talk to people around the world. And when you're getting to aggressive detox, which is what this really is, you're going to see some of your weaknesses. And hair and all this, even though you thought it was full and robust, there's no reason. Raw foods do not take off a strong hair. Raw foods do not make the body flabbier and weaker. If your skin is getting flabby and stuff, you had no real good muscle tone underneath what you thought was good muscle tone underneath, because your body doesn't get rid of strong tissue in a detoxification scenario. I mean, you would have to be long-term fasting on nothing, or maybe some water, to have any type of catabolic process to your own healthy cells. And you rarely see that. You do see that on weaknesses all the time, consistently. So the question is, look at your eyes, see what your lymph system looks like, and that sort of thing. I definitely want to get into upper circulation, because it is saying that your lymph system up in your brain isn't as healthy as you thought it was. So I would definitely go into that and kick it up another notch. See about, clean up the bowels, maybe the GI broom, and see about a proper absorption of nutrients, because that's what you could be facing here, is poor absorption. Another problem you might be facing, dear one, is the adrenals and low mineral utilization. You know, sometimes with our foods and the stimulation of our proteins and high mineral foods, we stimulate things. It's like women used to take gelatin for fingernails, and their fingernails would get real hard, and then they would come off of it, and their fingernails would go back to weak again, and then they take more of it. And you can do that even with calcium. Of course, you run the risk of getting arthritis, seen a lot of that. So, but for stimulation, but it'll always go back to the way it was if you don't make things healthy. And things would be cells. The body's just cells in 2 major fluids. So you've got to get the body healthy, or get the cells healthy of the body through the 2 fluids. Because it's the 2 fluids that's directly responsible for the health and maintenance of the cells. Do you agree? There's nothing else except spirit, the prana, the life force, obviously. These are the things that the spiritual of us talk about, absolutely. But from a more mundane perspective, it's all chemistry, driven by intelligence, driven by frequencies of electromagnetic energy, which drives the atom, and you can go in and put that all together. But I'll put this to Jennifer, and we will talk about this. I'll put this to Chris. Give to Jen, and I'll take a look at this, sweetheart, and see what's going on here. Maybe you have a picture of your eyes or something we can take a look at here, because I want to also give to Jen on this one case here. Please return to Shannon once he's YouTubed. Okay. Okay. A friend of mine, woman, is since over a year on product. She is not getting really better. All right, let's see here. There's a woman. This guy said there's a friend of his. Well, marked out or hers. Marked out the name. Woman since over a year on a protocol. She is not getting really better. Some little improvements. She is doing best only on fruits, but most fruits she reacts. That's the lymph system. So when you see that, when you see someone getting along, that's the value of pulling the eyes. Because when you pull the eyes and you look at someone's eyes, you'll see really what's up in these sort of situations. And it's funny how that when you start to see the body getting into these higher levels of nutrition and health, they don't want vegetables, they want the fruits. But then the fruits are so powerful, she gets an immune response to that. She wrote a letter to Dr. Morse, which I attach her eyes. Oh, good. It would be so great if this case could be taken up at YouTube to give her hope. Okay, let's talk about that. Her protocol so far as tinctures, endo, kidney, bladder 1, lymph 1, liver, gallbladder, upper circ, capsules or kidneys 2 and 3, stomach and bowel 1, lymph 2, liver gall. But you have a liver gall on the liquids too. Too much liver gall. Pancreas. You would need to do both. You can go back and forth between pancreas and liver gallbladder, save yourself money. You can do 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, 1 bottle of pancreas. Remember the herbs that generally are good. The berberis family for the gallbladder and pancreas or liver is also good for the pancreas, but generally not vice versa. Adrenal and kidney glandulars. Good idea. The protocol is changing a bit from time to time. All right, let's look at this. Let's take a look at her eyes here, if I have her eyes. Oh, let's take a look at this. I don't have Drew. Let me see if I've got Drew here. Come in and help me look at his eyes. Hey, Drew?
Yes.
When you're not busy, can you step in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Right. Yeah, let me see as best I can on this. First of all, heavy congestion in the GI tract, particularly in the stomach. Heavy congestion. Now, for some reason you have, I don't know what your eyes look like before this. I want you to kind of home in, if you would, Drew, on these eyes here. We'll kind of show this. I'll come around there. Maybe we can home in on that together. These are real hard to see here. Let me see. Yeah, they're too hard to see here. But well, you got a long way to go, don't you? You want me to come closer to you?
If you want to.
Oh,
I got
that's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. All right, you see all this thick white stuff right here? That's in your stomach and bowels. And that gives you this real dark malabsorption ring, so you're malabsorbed. These are all these little white dots are lymph nodes. So your lymph nodes have probably been swollen since you were born. I mean, these are real strong here. All this orange is sulfur in the gut here. You've had this since you were young because you see it kind of spreading out here. This is the right eye right here, isn't it? No, This is the left.
That's right.
Right eye, right? Right eye, yeah. Left eye, even though it looks different in the camera, this is the left eye, right? No.
This is right.
This is the right
Yes.
eye. Yeah. And right here, I can see kidney and adrenals right here. that dark area here. But you got pretty good genes. I just wanted to show you her eyes so we could look at this. You've got skin going on here. Where's my pen? Skin and lungs. All right, so let's take a look at this case. She's been on herbs for about a year. Doesn't feel like she's getting little improvements, but not a lot. But you have some pretty good genes here, dear one. You know what? I could definitely use better eyes. So let's look at the left eye here. The left eye, definitely big-time kidney and adrenals. Hard to see here, Drew. But you can really see the adrenals. The kidney, on the left kidney is in a chronic state here. See that right there? That's your kidney there. That's the left kidney in a state of weakness, of course. This is over a lot of inflammation in the hip, the left ovary, the lungs. You've got congestion in the lungs. You've got lymph node swelling in the lungs. Up in the brain, you need to do upper circuit brain and nerve. You got a couple of spots here in the left brain. Back here in the cerebellum, you're backed up here in the cerebellum, sweetheart. You're not. I don't know what your eyes looked like before, but that's your equilibrium dizzy center. So that needs to be dealt with. Mid-back definitely is an issue here. Thyroid a little bit, a lot of congestion in the throat. But I don't know what these looked like before. Skin is not overly bad, though. To be honest with you, here is the right eye. More kidney and adrenals. Adrenals, I'm going to say, are probably subacute to chronic in that way. A lot of malabsorption going on here. Real thick mucus and lymph in the gut area. So that's where I would focus, is kidneys, adrenals, and gut. Get your better absorption, because a lot of this, your nutrition, you're probably not even absorbing into the body. So I'd get on the stomach and bowel and GI broom. Showing some mid-back stress. Lower back here on the right side, again, goes to that right kidney. A lot of congestion in the upper neck, throat area, weakness, tonsil, if it's still having a weak there. I'd go over here, the lung pattern on the right side, lower lobe in particular. But again, these are not really good pictures in terms of being able to, yeah, I mean, these are great pictures. But from what I have, I'd be better to see a photograph in front of me, because you lose the pixel and the quality here, and so I can't see much other than that. But there's no reason that she should have too much problems here lymphatically. She's not overly involved. There are weaknesses in places, but a lot in the gut here. There's a really malabsorption here. So the question is, how much nutrition or even the herbs and stuff is she getting into herself? So I definitely focus on the GI broom and stomach and bowel here. Let's go back here and look at this. You know, the problem, the concern is that when lymph nodes have been swollen like that for years, they get hard. So moving lymph through them, very difficult. So we have as much concern about kidney filtration. We have that same concern in lymph node filtration. And when we start to see these little white dots around the lymphatic rosary area of the eye, the concern is breaking these loose. So I would probably think about lymph node 5 and really kind of hit that lymph node system, make sure the kidneys are filtering, but she's got to really clean that GI tract out. She's got sulfur, so there's got to be some bloating here. Now, food allergies. This is a Switzerland individual. Let me see. Thanks, sweetheart. I participated in these treatments over the past year. That I started with the herbs a year ago with the raw food diet. Let me see here. I only ate fruit, but with the inclusion of bananas and dates. All right, my intestine stomach does not appear to recover, though. Well, that's right where the problem is, and you'll see that in your eye. You're so thick. Your lymph has gotten stagnant in the wall of your stomach, in the wall of your small bowel, and in the wall of your colon. You have a large malabsorption ring, so you can see these things are not doing well there. Let me check on that liver gallbladder area too, just to see. I don't see much going on. If anything, maybe a little pancreatic thing. I don't see much going on there. If you were seeing undigested foods, I would pick up the pancreatic formula maybe for a month or two, the capsule one, and go that way. But the problem with you is malabsorption. So a lot of the herbs and the good food you're eating is just not getting through. This is why GI tract work is always one. Now, kidney and GI tract, these are eliminative organs. This is why the focus should always be on these eliminative organs. And the neat thing is we don't know about malabsorption except through iridology. That's the beauty of that. Because undigested foods is pancreatic. That's not malabsorption. Malabsorption would mean, and it's hard to tell that you have malabsorption except through the eyes here. Those that get too skinny when they detoxify, malabsorption. Those that can't put on weight and eat all they want. Hyperthyroid maybe, but malabsorption big time.
Right.
As you waste away and get older and you feel like you're wasting away, malabsorption. You start losing your ability to absorb your nutrition. But we start to lose the ability to digest our foods properly. We start to lose the ability to absorb those foods. The adrenals are down in everybody, so utilization of nutrients are way down in everybody. You look at all the endos are down in most people. So when you start looking at all the things that make people feel healthy and vital, it's all down in most people. And if you go right to the system that's mostly responsible for bringing them down, it is not the blood. It is the lymphatic system and the acid side of chemistry. We've already played on thinking on the other side. That's the problem. You can argue, and medical can argue about alkalosis to health reasons. The problem is the facts back us up. Because we can cure anything from this perspective. We can't cure nothing from their perspective. So what does that tell you? I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. There's no cure in allopathic medicine, but it's not supposed to be, in all fairness to medical doctors. So, but they have to learn that and be able to tell people we're not a curative modality. We treat symptoms with pharmaceuticals. If you want to run the risk, run the risk. You know, we need more naturopathic influence in ERs, I can just tell you that. More influence of botanicals and the use of botanicals. And a good example is that first case about hemostats to stop internal bleeding. You don't have to use some of these real toxic chemicals. So she's already given, or he, whoever this is giving the first clue right here, stomach and intestines. Well, that's a big deal right there. That's everything, because everything else kind of, it rests on how well you absorb and digest your foods. That's your blood. That's your energy. But it's also lymphatic because the lymph system absorbs the aminos and the lipids. So, you know. Out of October last year, I continually suffer rashes in my intestinal folds. Well, look at your eyes, dear. Thick, white around the eye. That's acidosis. That's mucus, right? It says, I continually suffer rashes in my intestinal folds, which is the villi. Right? Those that's why we absorb better than carnivores, because carnivores have a slick, smooth intestinal wall. Ours is ringed or folded, where you have absorption on all these folds, which are villi. So, and all of them are just, that's where you have the capillaries of blood and lymph, and where absorption takes place through the lymph capillaries or maybe some minor blood capillaries. But, and she said, this tells what else she's having rashes. In other words, this is serious stuff, because you keep that in your gut wall and that's all the cancers. You know, you're going to burn your gut wall. Acid's going to burn it through. That's why the rashes on the villi. Bad stuff. Interstitial folds of my mouth. It could be in the intestinal folds too, you know, the villi of that. But in the mouth, that's bad. That's head. That means you're highly acidic in the head, dehydrated in the head. I see a couple spots, what was it, left brain or right brain you got to fix. You got to get up there and take care of these. I suffer liver pains. You're suffering systemic acidosis, sweetheart. Or whoever this is, you can call it fibromyalgia, you can call it lupus, you can call it whatever you want. But this is interstitial lymphatic constipation. You can see it in your eyes. Heavy in the gut. Heavy. The lymph nodes are blocked up. So very serious stuff. And this will cause acidosis to back up in the liver, back up. But I don't see any breaking down of these tissues of yet. You'd have to look at your blood workup and see what you got in there. I use this term because the pain is on my right side, which is on occasion radiates right up to my right, up into my shoulder. Well, it could be your liver. It also could be the colon on this side, too. It could be the colon also involved on that. You're highly inflamed in the colon. So, I mean, it could be the colon as well. That goes right up and under the breast area, or under the breast area. So you can have it can be colon pains as well. And of course, neurologically, it can radiate all kinds of ways. Up the shoulder, to the back, things like that. Sometimes the pain is very dull, other times the pain is intense. When I have too little nourishment, well, it shows you the extreme dehydrated state you're in. And that you're so malabsorbed you're not able to hydrate properly fast enough. So get aggressive with GI work. That's all I can tell you. And get aggressive with the high fruit. And no matter what else you see, if you don't take care of this part, nothing else is going to get well. So you've got to aggressively get absorption back in your body and get these back. You should see thick mucus coming out of your stools. You have sulfur there, so you should see some orange stools or some orange in your stools. You probably have high candida with that, so I'd be staying on Parasite M for a while. If she lays down and rests, the pain goes away. In these cases, I lose all my energy to the point where I am unable to speak. Wow, that goes to what I see in your eyes as chronic adrenals. You're dealing with your autonomic nervous system here, from back of the head to the mouth, all of this. So this is the autonomic nervous system here. In these cases, let me see, I am feeling I'm going to pass out. Absolutely. And that's where I see that one, on that one side, which one is it? Where the cerebellum. That one is going to make you where you pass out, you feel lightheaded and stuff like that. Yeah, that's on the left side. But in quite fairness, on the right side, you're pretty thick up here. So I'd be working on those neurolymphatic points down my spine and try to help open that flow down the back. But your bowels are lymphatically backed up big time. That's that thick white immediately around your pupil, and then you see that dark brown malabsorption ring immediately around the pupil. So that right there, it tells you you're thick inflammation in the gut wall, you're malabsorbed, your lymph nodes look like they've been shining for all your life, meaning you're not filtering the acids from the cells through the lymph nodes and then to the kidneys. And the adrenals are down, so that's not going to help the kidneys even filter it if that was happening. So you got a couple of things you got to hang in there and fix. You know. Let me see what else here. I would take upper circuit brain and nerve. That's one thing for sure. Upper circuit brain and nerve. If you had to do it 4 times a day, do it 4 times a day. That's going to help promote blood flow upstairs. It's going to help the neurons all through the body. I'd get on the adrenals. The blood pressure has to be low or high, meaning it's probably low. So you want to fix this. Adrenals. And you look at your eyes here, they're in a chronic stage, so they're always going to be low. If you have high blood pressure, that's going to go down to real low. So you want to hit, I would do, again, adrenal glandular, probably 400, depending how low you are on that. Currently unable to tolerate any form of nourishment without immediately showing symptoms. And this is what happens when you get backed up. I'll tell you this, I'd probably get the new stomach tea and start buffering some of this inflammation of the gut, but you need to get all this mucus out of you. And that's it. You see it in your eyes here. It's just showing you what's up here. And you just got to get all this thick mucus and this sulfur out of you. GI broom, GI broom, GI broom. And at the same time, get the kidneys and adrenals up, because you still have to clean in the gut wall through the lymph nodes and through the kidney. Same thing, can't all be pulled through the bowel wall. So you've got to fix the kidney connection to this. And these are very important. When I consume foods containing histamine, my intestinal stomach immediately becomes inflamed and I suffer giddiness. No kidding. That's because your nerve endings are all agitated too. I mean, you're highly acidic, so your nerves are acidic as well. So they can be highly agitated. I've considered doing a water juice cure, but I hesitate. I wouldn't hesitate one bit. You're probably going to do better on a juice water fast for a while. I'd go back and forth. Anything to start pulling, and of course a water fast will really help expectorate this mucus even better. So I definitely visit that thinking. Definitely visit that thinking. I am not in an emotional state to undertake this without supervision and support. Well, you got all the help you have here. You got the Facebook help there. You can go down to Costa Rica where they do have fasters down there. Yeah. Prior to following your cures, I received 30 colon hydroenemas. Well, here's the other problem with 30 of them. You notice you're suffering and you had all that and spent all that money, because water washing the colon is a no-brainer. 30 of them, ridiculous. For colon therapists to recommend that, it's ridiculous. You guys, colon therapists, got to get with using your herbal botanicals as well. Work with that with your clients and use occasional hydrotherapy if you want, or colon therapy. But this innervates the gut. and it didn't do anything for absorption or the small bowel because this is a colon thing. So this innervates the colon. On top of that, during this time I also did a 4-week fast. That's good. In addition, I also did my own enemas. I also have fasted throughout my life. Well, I'll say this, enemas, and forget that, it's not going to do you any good. This is interstitial. This is in the wall. And that is the lymph system tied to your lymph nodes and your kidneys, and your lymph nodes are all swollen. But with that said, in the wall, all through the colon and small bowel, you're really constipated lymphatically. You're full of mucus. And you should be seeing a lot of this mucus coming out. Earlier in my life, I was a top athlete, figure skating. Ooh, I love figure skating. Yeah! We got to get this. It's got to be a girl. It could be a guy, but we got to get this individual back figure skating. You don't like figure skating?
I love them.
I love them.
Yeah.
Oh man, the triple set, the five.
I've seen you do one. You used to do that, right? All right, back to
way back.
Yeah.
During this period, I suffered bulimia for some 16 years. I was able to heal myself psychologically from this condition. That's good. This is a girl that needs some help. Get your adrenals up, sweetheart, or a guy, and get more emotional strength going on here, and go after this because you've got good genes. Your eyes look good. Don't even though you don't feel that way, you got good genes. Your body isn't heavily lymphatic up, but your lymph nodes are blocked, and your GI tract is heavily lymphatic up. Following this, I started nourishing myself on a vegetarian diet, followed later by a vegan regime. Good girl or guy. With this practice suited me well for a long term, but immediately a decade ago, the initial symptoms of what I suffer today made their appearance in my intestinal stomach. Well, it shows up in your eyes. And I can tell you that it might have just made its appearance, but it's been brewing for years. The old witch has been brewing the brew. And it just said hi, and that's how symptoms are. People go, well, look, I've never had any problems in my life. And I think this is stupid thinking. You know, some people, I never had a problem, and suddenly I have a problem. What's up? Huh. The brew has been brewing, baby. I mean, that thing, you notice that? You just go on and go on and go on, and then bam, you suddenly got, now you're aware you got a tumor and you have cancer, but it's been brewing. It takes a long time to convert a cell to a cancer cell, a damaged cell.
I speak to a lot of people who come in and say that they're perfectly healthy.
I know, I love those. I am perfectly healthy. Oh, the bags under your eyes, what's those mean? You can tear people apart when they say I'm perfectly healthy. Right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We have to get all on this same board here, but this was brewing in you, dear one, and it finally raised its ugly little head and said, I've had enough. I've reached that. I'm full, and bam, and off it goes. I initially ignored this. Now I am only believe that a water fasting cure would eliminate. Well, water fasting could help you. I would definitely use the stomach tea, though. That's what it's for. But you got a lot of congestion to get out of those bowels. Let me tell you. Conversely, suffering hunger and weaknesses without any sign of improvement is something I am unable to face. Well, fix it. You got malabsorption going on there. Get into that GI broom. I don't care how bad. Right. And get this bowels of yours cleaned up and opened up. But at the same time, you got to get your kidneys filtering. I don't know what to tell you. You got to use fruit and fasting because these are the only levels you have available to you. There's nothing you can do down below there. You can't start eating vegetables and help. You can't start eating anything and helping you because you're trapped now. And you have no other where to go. There's no way to go. If you start on a high protein diet, you're going to really kick yourself in the hiney. You're going to hurt yourself. So you only have one road to walk. And you just get up there. Get up high on this path to walk. Because it sounds like you're kind of in this reached a kind of a plateau and you need to dig in. Not so much with the herbs, with the diet. And I think your intuitiveness, I don't want to say higher self, you coming through to your mind is telling you need to fast, water fast, you need to do some of this. Once you break your bowels open and loose, you'll be a whole different individual in every way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And because my most recent protocol, I diagnosis for your proposal. Currently, my diet embraces the following. Mornings, a melon smoothie. Midday, fresh fruit, usually one type, but on occasion, two kinds. Afternoons, fresh fruit. And evenings, salad without any fat, or alternately with coconut. Regularly, about once a month, I suffer a slip-up, but it doesn't matter with that. You know what I'd do? I'd probably put myself on a grape fast. Start a grape fast if you can tolerate the grape fast. If not, move to an apple or an apple grape. Find yourself a medium there and just take off on a 10, 20, 30, 40. Keep pushing it. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going as far as you can. If you can, slip off of that and then go into a water fast for like 5 or 6 of those days or 10 of those days and then slip back on the grapes and keep going. Keep moving yourself in that way. I'm going to tell you, that's why I created the GI Broom. There's a lot of you guys out there that suffer with this, and you've got to open this up. I am certain that I consume far too many, too much coconut fat. I don't know, maybe, and that might hold you back. If you do too much coconuts, it can hold you back, because then you get into digestion. And the more digestion, the less detox, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This aside, I rapidly stick to eating only raw food. You got to. I mean, for now, you got to fix this. I would very much like to make my case public and receive treatment over your YouTube. Food intolerances are on the increase with so many people suffering these. Well, food intolerance is lymphatic congestion. That's lymphatics. That affects absorption, digestion. That affects everything you can imagine. It affects the immune response. It creates acidosis and inflammation. It creates all these things. So you're doing diet really well. Just kick that up a little more in what we talked about, and that should help you, dear one. And Switzerland, this is good. And I got to give this back. Chris, give this back. Chris, give to Shannon. Okay. So I hope that helps you. But that's what I see in your eyes there. I see good genes here pretty much. A good photograph would be nicer for me to see better. But look right around your pupils, your answer. Thick white, orange, sulfur, irritating you all the time. But you've got good eyes here. Don't let that fool you. You can kick yourself, get over this hump, and you will do well. Yeah, please return to Shannon. Here's another one.
Returning to Shannon, huh?
I'm telling you.
Good. Do you still need the eyes?
Was exposed to.
Do you have any more eyes? Do you have any more eyes?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Give me, page me.
Huh?
Page me when you're ready.
Page. You got it.
All right.
To the page. Oh. Or to the barn. I bet you don't know what movie that was.
I don't. That says a lot.
I know. There's so many movies like that. No, it was Young Frankenstein with the guy that had the wood arm, the sheriff that had the wood arm. That was a classic movie. Young Frankenstein, Mel. All right, let's see. My client was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam. Well, there's Agent Orange, Agent Purple. There's all kinds of agents. What we did, oh my God. I know, and there's another person, well-known, wrote a book on raw foods that has it too, and this individual needs to go this way. A few years later, he started to lose feeling in his legs, absolutely. These are neurotoxins, guys. These are all pesticides and herbicides that they were clearing the jungles of Vietnam with. Imagine a beautiful, pristine jungle, and they're just, killing it all with pesticides. Well, everybody breathes the pesticides, so Agent Orange, Agent Purple, and these are neurotoxins, so the neurological conditions are coming. And remember, there's only one way with a neurological condition. I have watched all of Dr. Morse's videos and do not recall Dr. Morse addressing this toxicity. Would be like any other neurotoxin, any other pesticide, herbicide, anything like that. Detox is the only world that this individual needs to live in. So again, as the case before, I would try to work them up into a high-fruit diet. With that said, though, you could spend a month or two maybe on some greens, high parsley, high dandelion greens, that sort of thing, cilantro, that sort of thing, or get our a heavy metal detoxifier, even though these are neurotoxins, they are right on those myelin sheaths. So to be honest with you, you want to get the kidneys filtering, the same old thing. Because how can you detoxify the body of anything if that system that detoxifies, not the blood, what's the other system? The lymphatic system. When that system isn't filtering, how are you going to detoxify a human? If you're not filtering from your kidneys or your skin, how do you detoxify someone? You don't. That's the problem. Or if you do, it's very minor because all the elimination exit points are blocked. It is out of the mouth, out of the nose, out of the ears, out of the vaginal. But if all these eliminative organs of the lymphatic system, the skin and the kidneys are down, good luck. And so that's the problem. And so really want to go after this individual, probably male, but not a lot of females in active combat in Vietnam. So definitely, that was my era. And so definitely want to get into this gentleman. And fruit is the only level you're going to regenerate any damage from these acids. Are going to take you a fruit diet. At the same time, I don't know how paralyzed he is right now, but you want to get that upper circuit brain and nerve, get that up and going. Start detoxifying, get the adrenals, get the kidneys up, make sure he's filtering, get those adrenals up, get that blood pressure up so you know that neurotransmitters are flowing better across the myelin sheaths. That'll electrify and turn on the myelin sheaths, blah, 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 blah. I would definitely hit off with this. My client is a very healthy person who eats fresh, organic, garden-picked food, but is having trouble walking. Well, get in. There's going to be a deeper detox here because you've got to get in deep in this guy. Vietnam was some time back. So these neurotoxins have been building, and so is probably his lymph system with that. So everything exacerbates another. Just realize that. And so this is another case for getting the kidneys to filter and getting the adrenals up and detoxifying. To get him perfectly well with walking and everything, get high up on that fruit diet. And then you'll turn him around here. And help him without breaking the bank. Well, kidney, lymphatic, endocrine glands, chem metal detox, liver, gallbladder, brain and nerve 2, upper circ, lower circ. Yeah, you could do lower circ on him, but you wouldn't have to do it long term. I would try to do 2 kidneys. I would do an adrenal glandular. Depends what his blood pressure is. Maybe start with the 200s. If he starts to really go low, click up to the 400s. You definitely want to hit kidneys and adrenals. Then I would jump up to 2 lymphatics. Try to do the first kit. So if he's traipsing Vietnam, you want to deworm him. So you definitely want to do the first kit. And that's got these formulas in them except chem metal and brain and nerve and circulation. So that you want to deworm this person, and every one of your clients deworm them. So that first kit's a good kit, gives them all the basics and the dewormers. Now, that's a 2-week program while you sit back, look at your case, and see what you're going to do. I'm going to kick them up to 2 kidney formulas. I'm going to kick up the adrenals. I'm going to go to a glandular. I'm going to kick up the lymphatic system big time. I'm going to kick up the bowels. I'm going to do the GI broom unless they're just too loose. And then I'm going to do the stomach and bowel formulas with that. I'm going to do the liver for another month maybe. I'm going to do Parasite M for a while on these cases, just to get the fungus out of these people, that sort of thing. I'm going to brain and nerve, upper circle, to do those things. Get his eyes, take a look at his eyes, and check a look at that. Yeah, but go down that road. But consider that like any other neurological condition, MS or anything else. You're going to go after them the same, particularly if they've lost nerve function. And it's not parasitic. I told you the case in Portugal, Lisbon, that medical doctors actually called me about this case. And this was a case of a gentleman that was a butcher. And I asked him when he came in with MS symptoms. And the medical over there is a lot different. They actually loved me over there. I thought I would like to move to Portugal. Over here they hate us, and over there they loved us. And so they brought me this case. And I asked him if he wore gloves as a butcher, and he said no. And so I had a real strong feeling, what the problem was. So he was getting worse by the day. And I mean really bad. And so he didn't want to go on fruit to detoxify, but he got to the point where he couldn't even move. He was bedridden, so he said, I'll do anything you want. So his wife started him on the herbs, and he started throwing up handfuls of worms. Handfuls. And 3.5 months I had him driving around Lisbon. Anybody knows about the streets of Lisbon knows what that means. If you don't have a scrape or lost your mirror at some time, you're lucky. Maximus. Can damaged cells regenerate? Well, it depends how damaged. You can regenerate tissue in the stem cells and everything else, the mast cells, but if cells have been damaged too much, they're going to go to macrophage city. Sorry, that's just the nature of the beast. But at a certain level, you can. A good example is atypical cells we see from pap smears on females. We use the HIL-Alt, and we see those cells convert back to healthy cells. So there's a point where you can take a cell and convert it back like you can regenerate anything. Because if you don't have regeneration, then you don't have creation. Because creation isn't just about degeneration. You have 2 sides to the coin of creation here, duality. And you have to understand that we don't understand the rules of regeneration. That's why we don't see them. Doesn't mean they don't exist. When you don't see something, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means we don't, as humans, haven't got to the consciousness of understanding it yet. Well, if that's because medical consciousness is still dark agey stuff. And even in the natural health fields, we carry a lot of this around like balls and chains, the treatment concept, the autoimmune concepts. These are just simply concepts to say, I don't know what the hell is going on. But we live in a world of chemistry. Go to chemistry. Rethink chemistry. Rethink acids. Rethink how this works in your own life, consuming cokes and things like this. Rethink it from what you know to be true instead of theories, because some theories are just ridiculous. Or genetically remember themselves. Well, no, you're going back. Yeah, this is an interesting talk here. And I don't really want to take the time with this, but I think I'll ask Chris, but I did stretch it a little bit. I asked Chris to put up that first section of the class. I didn't want to make the class mad, but the first section of the class. Hey, Drew? Drew?
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, do you know if Chris put up that first section, that first day of the class where we had the God Worlds chart, we had the different levels and the mind, and we talked about consciousness and how that goes into genetics. Did Chris post that up on YouTube, do you know?
Yes, we did. Yes. That
Okay.
has been, that was uploaded. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man. So there's your answer, because that's the quickest way I can say is review that video, because that was the first part of the class, and I talk about how cells have memory patterns and why and where it comes from. And that's the quickest way, because I can't give you just an overview like that. All things that have physical form have a mental form and emotional form with it. And in the mental forms, you have two forms. It's actually three bodies. You have the causal, which is the Akashic records. That's the memory body. You have the mind, pure mind itself, and you have the etheric mind, which is the ego part, the id, as Miss Young used to say. So you're actually regenerating all levels, because foods have all levels to them. Plants have memory. Remember the stories we talk about plants and memories? Absolutely. I mean, there's some of these universities. This one university, remember, talking about replacing bomb-sniffing dogs in airports with plants, because this professor said her plants are more accurate. I mean, we got to understand, we got to get with life spiritually. You know, we got to start thinking outside of this box of belief systems and things like this that are condensing your experiences of life, and open up and understand that life is huge and has a lot of levels and frequencies to it. But they do remember themselves. Absolutely, they do remember themselves. But there's a point. There's a PNR, what I call PNR, point of no return, that a cell is macrophaged, phagocytized. Yeah. Eaten, gotten rid of, nixate, ixate. But you have more stem cells, you got more cells replicating themselves. The problem is replicating those weaknesses and stopping that. And doing it without putting the brakes on too hard, but at the same time, you can't put the brakes on too hard. So difficult when you start thinking about cells and the regeneration of the tissue, which means that you have to get interstitially to the cell because of the impact of the interstitial fluids to the cell itself in terms of the removal of cell waste and also the blood ability to feed the cell. We've got to look at all these things, because the cell wall permeability, all these things are affected by that, by the body chemistry and dehydration, and acidosis. Good questions, though. I wrote Dr. M a question, and he answered it in Miss' latest YouTube video. His answer didn't seem very positive and almost made me feel like I can't get better. Whoa, that wouldn't have been from me. He said it comes down to genetic remembering of cells, which I could find much on. Well, because there's not much out there, you've got to have people that are more spiritually awakened, man. Some of these very physical thinkers haven't opened their consciousness up to see things, so they don't understand things. The mind limits your ability to see so much, so you're stuck. And this is why I tell people who graduate, enjoy your academics, put them in proper perspective. Hi, honey.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Would it be okay if we started moving the shipping and stuff now and get the computers moved around and move everything? Because
I know, I know. It's real slow.
It's slow, but
Okay.
We're having, it's,
Okay, good then. Yeah, be good, I would think.
and don't forget that we're closed on Monday. So,
What's Monday?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day's Monday. I work though, right? I'm off Monday?
Everybody's off Monday.
We're off Monday? Yoo-hoo! Well, I'll set the video up. I'll come and do videos all day. It's cold in here, isn't it?
Cold in here.
I know. That's that Marcy person over there next door.
Thanks.
Thanks. No, Maximus, no. There's regeneration of tissue all the way. No. You're doing it physically in chemistry. You're doing it everything else magnetically. Because it's hard to describe, Maximus. You have to get that first one. The only way, because if I'm going to start from consciousness and work myself down to the cell, the best thing is to review that video from the class. Because, and I did that. I hope the class didn't get too mad on that. But no, you can regenerate it all, man. But you won't find much on regeneration of tissue because there's not much. You're one of the way showers, the pavers. All of you guys are. And we proved it by, you can see all your people there. Look at Hildy. Look at all these guys that are that are walking now that we're in chairs. Look at all these cases. That's regeneration of tissue because that's what tissue is. Tissue is everything to the human body. So you can regenerate anything. You cut yourself. It regenerates, doesn't it? Absolutely. But depending on how fast, how pussy, how that hurt, how it left a scar or not, all depends on how acidic you are. So sorry, Maximus, you got the wrong impression, my man. There's no way in hell. I'm a firm and total non-believer. I've seen it year in and year out all over the place. I don't believe it. I know it factually. And that's what you guys are proving on Facebook all over the world. You guys are proving regeneration of cells. That's tissue. That's liver. That's hearts. That's kidneys. You're doing all of this, guys. Beautiful stuff. So you guys are proving it. Really good stuff. So sorry you got a wrong impression, Maximus, because no way. But review that bit if you want to understand. If it stretches your religious belief system, I'm sorry, but these are what we know to be true. These are the worlds that we know that exist and have already been explored out of the human body. But to be quite truthful, this is the lower world of these other worlds. And it's just understanding more of who you are and what you are. So this helps you to expand and have more joy and start to see things more, start to understand things more, instead of the pseudo world of the trap of the mind, which keeps you trapped in thought patterns that are conditioned. So you have no way to come out and see truth from conditioned thought forms, because thought patterns, conditioned thought patterns, are conditioned by your school, your whatever books they allow you to read, what we thought of history, which is totally wrong. Right now, we're starting to learn that a lot of the history we've learned is not accurate. We're starting to see. So that's a problem with belief systems, is limiting your experience to the belief system that you've accepted, without proof or evidence. You've just accepted it because your family believed it, your church believed it, or your school believed it. It's time for you now in life to step up out of that and open the consciousness, because this planet has got some problems coming. So you guys have got to wake up out of that if you want to have a happy hereafter. You follow my drift? So understanding the God worlds and what we know, at least at this point, understanding the map makers. That's why I bring out Paul Twitchell, but he's the one who really brought out the higher worlds above generally creation. Nobody really knew of these worlds, but the lower worlds mostly have already been mapped out by spiritual giants throughout the course of history. Even Jesus is responsible for doing these things. We just don't align ourselves because they're not taught. And if they're not taught, then your mind doesn't have any way of knowing that, does it? No, you have to have out-of-body experiences to be shown that, because no one here understands that through the mind much. There are people that do, but we generally ostracize ourselves from these people, because society as a rule, runs in conditioned thought patterns and emotions where, like the flock and the herd, everybody herds together, whether the herd is right or not. A herd can all go off the end of the mountain and into the cliff, and everyone goes with them. Or the smarter ones go, whoa, wait a minute, there's a big fall there. Doc M, Thank you for taking my questions. Oh, you're welcome. I have done quite a bit of cleaning of the GI tract using your herbal formulas. I moved a great deal of sulfur, out and still have a ways to go. Isn't that too bad? Not too bad, Gwen, now all this sulfur. It's a sad thing, you know. We're actually going and cleaning up the mess from pharmaceuticals, and they just devastated the human body. And I can't imagine any higher thinking medical doctor doesn't get on the bandwagon of herbs. They'll stop this hurting of people. No more will they get hurt their people. And of course they don't. I'm sure don't mean to. But it's all they're educated of. And that's why I think that when we expand outside of the box, then we can all work together and we can heal. Because there's a lot of great things in the medical world that we can use. But there's also a lot of bad things. And the same thing, naturopathic and everywhere else. There's the good and the bad and the ugly, you know. When I began this program, the pH of my urine was rather acidic, at about 6 or less. That's good, meaning the kidneys were probably filtering themselves. Also, I've had a lot of difficulty digesting fruit and vegetables. No kidding. Well, then I would go to the pancreas because these are carbohydrates, and that's pancreatic digestive enzymes. So you might want to take the pancreatic formula for a month or two. Also digest real good here. Keep working on the GI tract. Whenever I eat something that will leave an alkaline ash, I have a light-colored stool. And now the pH of the urine is running very alkaline at about 7.8 to 8, even when I eat acid-forming foods, huh? Are you filtering? See, I would look at that kidney and make sure I'm filtering, because if you're filtering, you shouldn't see alkaline urine. So, were you not? I mean, you have to look at your adrenal glands and take a look at your blood pressures and see, you're looking at your urine, see if there's filtration, not necessarily the pH, but can you see actually sewage in that urine? My mother died of colon cancer and my brother developed type 2 diabetes. Okay, so here's the connecting link, Gwen, is your brother, there's your kidneys. There's your kidney and adrenals right there, because type 2, that's the adrenals. So there's your kidney and adrenals. The colon, absolutely. So that means interstitial lymphatic problems all through. You could have some malabsorption, Gwen, facing with that. That's the lymph system. So very important to get those kidneys filtering. I would say that what you're seeing here is a lack of filtration of kidneys, and you're seeing the loss of electrolytes while you're seeing the symptoms that you are. You know. Also, if you're a light-colored stool, you might be looking at your liver a little bit and see if you're getting rid of the heme. See if you're, breaking down properly your hemoglobin and stuff. I'm continuing to work on the GI tract. I'd work on my liver, pancreas. Go 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, 1 bottle of pancreas. I'd probably do the capsules on the pancreas and maybe the liquid and liver gallbladder. Doesn't matter really. But go back and forth, 1 bottle of each one. 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, then 1 bottle of pancreas. You don't have to do them together. And that way you'll hit a pretty good stream. Do about a couple months of that. At the same time, I definitely hit my kidneys. A couple of kidney formulas, 1 liquid, 1 tincture, 1 capsule. Make sure I'm filtering. Pee in a jar. Look for the sediment. Remember that? Look for the goopa. Look for the goopa. Right? That's what we need. And that's what that's telling me, because if you're filtering, you're not going to have a pH urine, because what you're eating doesn't affect that. These are byproducts of cell waste. So that I would take a look at that. Unless you're just not filtering, you're getting too much liquid, and that's your electrolytes. It just shows you right there. He was told it was a pancreatic problem. Type 2 is not a pancreatic problem. Type 2 is an adrenal problem. Type 1 is a pancreatic problem. Now, you could have a type 1 that's an adrenal problem if it's a neurological type 1, because that would be the autonomic nervous system. Generally, you're going to find that coming up out of here, though. I'm continuing to work on the GI tract, but is there something I should be focusing on rather than the pancreas here? Absolutely. The adrenals and the kidneys. You want to get the kidneys filtering, and you want to bring those adrenals up. Key. And look at that, brother. That's it. That's your key. There's your link there with the adrenals. Which herbs would you recommend for the pancreas if I make my own tinctures for long-term use? I'll have to do that and private communicate to you. Look at what I have in the pancreatic formula and in the liver formula and use those. Your assistance is so greatly appreciated. Oh, anytime, Gwen. But it sounds like, sweetheart, you're just not filtering in your kidneys, and you need to bring your adrenals up. That's number one, because you don't want to fall into that blood pressure problem that the brother has. Also, it does sound like you have some digestive problems, though. That's not blood sugar problems. You know what I'm saying? I would clean my liver and pancreas out a little bit. But you don't have, I wouldn't spend long term doing that. That's another thing there that I got from that. I wouldn't. I would do maybe 2 bottles of pancreas and 2 bottles of liver, gallbladder. Get my kidneys filtering, because generally it's the lymph system in these tissues that's breaking them down, and get my kidneys working. That's what I would focus on more. And then continue to enhance maybe the GI tract a little bit or something. You'd have to look at your eyes, Gwen, and see where you are with that. That's the beauty of the eyes. It really is in your face, literally in what's up and what you have to do. And it'll show you the changes and what you have left to do. So work on that, sweetheart. If you need help, give us a call here. This is Miss Amethyst. Wow, type 2 diabetes. Look at that. Obese, do those two go together? Obesity and type 2? And which gland are we talking about, Gwen? This is another case here. Talking about the adrenal glands, absolutely. So one thing is sure is you got to fix the adrenals, because that's your cortisol, and with low cortisol levels, you're also going to see, in a high acidic body, you're going to see cholesterol coming into play here. So your cholesterol levels can tend to go up now because your adrenal steroids are low, and fighting acidosis then will become a cholesterol problem instead of a steroid problem. Now, obese again, stay away from starches. People, get confused. They call starches carbohydrates. No. Starches are complex carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your fruits, your berries, your melons, and your salads. But these are carbon chain constituents. Complex carbon we call starch. Complex amino acids we call protein. Complex fatty acids we call saturated fats, or fats loosely. Body can't use complex anything. Everything complex must be broken down to simplicity. Think about that in the mind. Anything complex must be broken down simplistically. They don't teach that in education. So when they teach complexity, they don't teach the simplicity that goes along with it. So we get really stretched out there in complexity, the ego builds, and pretty soon we're aloof to others. We have knowledge beyond others. Bullcrap. We don't have any awareness. And that's the problem. You lose your awareness for the sake of intellectualism. Not worth it. Must balance those two sides, with the balance being stronger on the awareness side than on thinking side, on thought and the mental processes of life. Separate those two and you'll save yourself a lot. So put yourself on a raw food diet. Now you might gain a little, you might see the weight, it depends, go up and down a little bit at first, only because of edemic issues. If you're highly acidic because of these conditions like this, where the adrenals and kidneys are down, your body's become highly acidic from lymph stagnation, then you might hold some water. So the first month or two, don't freak out no matter what, but head down to the raw city lane and start getting your body in shape. Go after the kidneys, got to go after the adrenals. Now, check your thyroid, check your basal temperature. If you're a little low thyroid, that can kick up, that's your rate of metabolism, meaning that the rate of digestion can go way down. Eating too much means you got a lot of food turning to fat. You're not metabolizing your sugars, so that's turning to fat. So you're fighting this. And you could be fighting some edema from being high acidotic. So these are things to look at. Get the kidneys and the adrenals up. If you got weak thyroid, kick that up a little bit with a glandular or thyroid formula and work that up. Wanting to know about the issue of loose skin when you lose a large amount of weight. Can that be avoided? You know what? It can be if you go real slow and you check your connective tissue. You check your parathyroid gland. Most people that have real loose skin have real weak parathyroid glands. So check your parathyroid, connective tissue integrity. Go slower when you detoxify. But if you're still seeing that, then the chances of malabsorption are real high here. And then as you get your bowels cleaned up and you get your absorption done, then you'll put on good muscle and tone the skin, because with your clients, there's a couple of things you want to see done. And you know that they're doing the program, and two, you're getting in and making a change. First, you want to see wrinkles and loose skin tone and tighten. Second, you want to see hair growing on bald heads and gray hair disappearing. Those are the things you want to see. You want to see the new hair growth coming in here at the nape of the neck and right above here, typical. You want to see that coming in. You want to see hair growing on the bald heads. You want to see skin wrinkles going away on the face. You want to see nice toned, tight skin, flapping skin, snapping back. And if not, you just got to go out, keep going after that lymph, going after the parathyroid for tone and tightening, all these things like that. Interesting day. We've been talking a lot about parathyroids and strengthening tissue up here. Could you please consider doing a separate video on the menopause in general? For instance, what can a woman expect? What's the best way to prepare for it? Does it even exist for women using your protocols? Good question. Right. Well, sweetheart, I should do separate videos on all these. It's just getting the time. As I come down off of seeing people, I do plan to do more specific videos. Any menopausal or any movement of life, any changes of life in a natural process is always based upon the health or unhealthiness of tissues and cells. With the females, one must understand the role of the pituitary more in relationship to the ovaries and uterus. So understanding FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, all these type of hormones that are produced by the pituitary hypothalamus part of the brain, you just want to make that healthy. If menses is irregular, go to the pituitary gland. If you're short, go to the pituitary gland. Breast too big, too small, go to the adrenals and the pituitary gland. Start working on the health of the human body. You can't just say, I want to make my female organs healthy and avoid everything else, because everything depends on another. Everything works like the wheels of a clock. They must all fit in sequence and perfectly healthy. And so when the kidneys are down and the filtration of the lymph is down, everything gets it. The head goes down. Everything goes down. So we see female problems, but we don't come over here and look at what relates to that, what relates to the glands, what relates to tissue, what makes tissue healthy and what makes tissue unhealthy. And we're going to chemistry. We're going to two sides of chemistry because there's only two sides of chemistry. Which one is the most notorious corrosive? That's the acid side, the inflammatory side, the side that breaks down, the side that hyperstimulates or makes hypoactive, suppresses. That's the side. And that's predominantly the acid side. That's the lymphatic system of the human body. Whether you see an ovarian problem, you see a lung problem, you see a liver problem, it does not matter. So, the female reproductive formula, good for strengthening the ovary, strengthening the uterine. But when you get into endometriosis, you get into fibroids, you get into ovarian cysts, what system are you dealing with? You're not dealing in the female gonadal system anymore. You're dealing in the lymphatic system, which controls the health of the gonadal system and the system of the uterus. And the pituitary. That you have to take a look at this from a broader perspective. You've got to get away from focusing in on just the female side, pull back and understand that all cells play a role in this, from the thyroid to hot flashes, to the parathyroid and pain and cramping, to the pituitary in FSH and FH and all these things. Milk production, all these things are all involved in endocrine glands. And endocrine glands are just specialized cells that produce hormones and steroids, right? And other factors, serotonins, neurotransmitters, those sort of things. You got to make all these tissues healthy. So if you want a woman that goes through menopause, nice, she burns up her eggs. We don't even know what that means, really. But as she goes through that, you shouldn't notice a symptom. Matter of fact, remember we talked about your monthly periods. If you're a heavy bleeder, you're too acidic, you're too toxic. Your pituitary is out of balance. Your ovaries could also be out of balance in the production of estrogen. You could have low progesterone, meaning you're estrogen dominant, so you bleed too much. Your lymph system backed up in the vaginal wall. You're popping atypical cells. You're getting endometriosis. That's the lymph system in it. We jump on estrogen and blame estrogen for everything. Not true. Estrogen, testosterone, aldosterone, those are lighter acids. The cell acids are the big acids that get you. You got to remember there's a lymph system in the uterus. There's a lymph system in the vaginal wall. There's a lymph system in the ovaries. There's a lymph system in the pituitary. There's a lymph system in the thyroid. But always make healthy your endocrine glands as a female, because they control literally everything and every aspect of this. If you have sore fibrocystic breasts, that's your lymph system again. And you notice when acids go up, oh, you feel acid on top of acid. Estrogen is a minor acid, but on top of inflammation, you can feel it even more. Absolutely. Acid on top of acid. Suppressing estrogen with Rubidex, with tamoxifen. These are considered by the World Health Organization as carcinogens themselves. So here we go. We have a World Health Organization that considers tamoxifen a carcinogen, yet you have oncologists and all over this country recommending it for suppression of estrogen. So those are some of the things that I would rethink. Make healthy the thyroid. That'll save you from hot flashes. Pituitary, that's irregular menses and too much bleeding. Uterine and all that. Get into the lymph system again. So going into the female side means you're going into the lymphatic side again. We're back to that system again. We're back to that same system that males have with prostatitis and prostate cancers and not getting little winky up like they should and all these other things. Testicular cancers. Same thing as females. All the lymph system in these tissues, guys. It all deals with chemistry and acid and base chemistry, the flux of those two poles, some semblance of balance or homeostasis, if you will, between these two poles. But you've got to get into that's why the world of detoxification is the golden key. This is exactly why it's a golden key, because doing it right, and we do it right, it'll fix you. It'll balance out your hormones and steroids. It'll bring a female into balance. It'll make healthy. If you're small frame, get on that parathyroid. Strengthen, rebuild the human structure. Not just focus on the female side. But I hope that helps you, Ray. First of all, let me say, thanks. This is Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate your lovely comments. Next, I wanted to ask about your understanding of the nightshade family plants. Yeah. If you'd have asked me about 30-something years ago, I'd have given you a lot more chemistry about that. But these include tomato, peppers, potatoes, eggplants, goji too, huh? Oh, isn't that amazing? The goji berry is part of that? That's interesting. Ashwagandha, that's interesting to me. The mandrake, belladonna. We like the belladonna, right? No, I don't think so. Mandrake and belladonna, real toxic. Well, this is considered the toxic plant family. That's all there is to it. And generally, you notice I don't use mandrake. You could, kill yourself. What is that, Romeo and Juliet thing? But it's enough to say that this is a toxic plant family. I didn't know goji was part of that. That's interesting. David Wolf sold goji like it was going out of style. And then, of course, Indian literature, we use ashwagandha quite a bit. I have done a bit of research on them lately due to an intuition, good intuition, sweetheart, and found that they can be inflammatory foods and poisonous to the body over time as well as I'm with you. I'm with you on it. I don't know what to say about that, Stephanie. I agree with you. And you can really tell. That's why I'm not a real cruciferous. Well, they were talking about cruciferous and something else, but same type of thing. I'm not on the cruciferous side either. But, we've hybrided these things down to make them less toxic. But if you have arthritis, all you have to do is eat tomatoes, right? Right. Eat nightshade when you're in pain, and guess what happens to your pain? Exactly. It goes up. And that's why we take everybody that has systemic inflammation like fibromyalgia, lupus, and Lyme's, we take them off all the nightshade families. But then I'm more into the berries and the fruits and stuff. The vegetables you have to be careful with. Inflammatory foods poisonous to the body over time as well as addictive because of nicotine-like substances. In your opinion, are these plants safe to consume as food on a regular basis? No. No. And when you really get sensitive to acids, these foods are just not foods you really go into. Like now, in the peppers, get up to the red and yellow peppers. Get away from the green peppers. Better. Eggplants, potatoes, they all cause all those arthritic symptoms. That's why we try to get everybody off of all of these foods. Interesting about ashwagandha and goji, though. Limited to occasional medicinal use. I don't even know what's medicinal about any of these. Now, raw potatoes, very astringent. So raw white potatoes, very astringent, can pull open a sty or a big boil. Or do we believe it depends on the person? I believe they're just what they are to everybody. I believe just like what you're believing, what you found out here. I'm extremely fond of these foods, but I find that I can have middle back pain if I eat large quantities. Yeah, let me see here. I know a fruit and herb diet is best, but it is very difficult in America, even in southeast Texas. Yahoo! I'm going to be down in Texas here in a couple months, Corpus Christi. Enough to say, honey, I'm with you on that. I always try to tell people to avoid nightshade, particularly when they're in a lot of pain and things. I'm an old farm boy, so we not only had a lot of tomato fights, but we ate a lot of tomatoes. But still, you can get that twang of tomatoes. And, I see all this cooked tomato soups and stuff, and I'm going, ow, how can people eat that? I don't know, corrosive stuff. Look at when you cook tomatoes in aluminum, take a look at your pan, and then imagine you're getting aluminum in the tomato sauce now. So that's what's good. And all these chefs, when you go, those of you that like Italian food, holy moly, between that and Mexican food, you're some of the hardest food on the human body, I'll say politely, that there is. And when you cook tomato sauces, I've never been able to tolerate cooked tomato sauce. Raw, okay, better. All right, so that's the problem. Cook these and they're even worse. So, I'm for staying away from nightshade as much as possible, to be honest with you guys. That's just my thought. Now, I do like tomatoes in with my guacamole and stuff, so I do like a good tomato once in a while, but I can feel it, and taste and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Ray, on that one. Hello? Do you recommend taking the endocrine gland herbal formula and or pituitary gland for someone who may have a pituitary adenoma? Tumor on the pituitary? No way in hell. I would probably be into the endocrine gland herbal formula, but I wouldn't be in the pituitary, because remember, this is about the lymph system within that local structure. That's what tumors are. They're not blood clots, they're lymph clots, if you want to use the word clot. Tumors are just little holding tanks, storage rooms, if you want. A pocket of fluid. What kind of fluid is in a tumor when you read it in medical journals? Interstitial. What else? Right? And that is acidic fluid. Because obviously, when things are moving, when the creeks are moving and there's no beavers building dams and everything is moving well, there's no backing up of the water anyway. You want to make a dam, you block water flow, right? When you want to make a tumor, you block lymph flow, right? Right. And so that's what that is. I'm going to get to the kidneys. I'm going to go after that. So I would not touch that. I would get my kidneys and I would get my adrenals. I wouldn't even use upper circulation. I wouldn't move blood aggressively right now. I would get into the lymph and move lymph aggressively. Then you can get blood going. After that tumor's out of there, then you get that blood moving. Then that'll help repair and rebuild any tissue that was damaged by the acid. The body's trying to protect the pituitary hypothalamus area with the tumor. Believe it or not, that's protection, because all that sewage, all that acid will just chew on those cell membrane walls and pretty soon cause cellular or intracellular acidosis, especially if cells can't any longer eliminate outside themselves. They're consumed within that tumor itself. And that's why you don't want to increase blood flow. But lymph flow, big one. I am getting an MRI done pretty soon to see if mine has disappeared. It better. My prolactin used to be elevated, and now it is not so. We'll see. No matter what, keep digging. Put yourself on long-term grape fast, water fast. Keep pulling that lymph. Work on these neurolymphatic points down your back. Get this. Make sure your kidneys are filtering. Get hard into that because you want to get that out of there. Then Then you can rebuild the pituitary with a glandular or and upper circulation. I haven't had a period in almost 3 years. Well, that's a pituitary, you know that. And now my body is trying to start with little success. Keep working that pituitary. Keep making that pituitary healthy. Make sure the tumor's gone. All gone. Everything's moving good. Then go after it, because it'll grow back if you don't. So get everything moving. Get your bowels cleaned up. Everything filtering and moving. You'll never get it again, dear one. You'll be done. And then your period will come. It'll come, but I wouldn't invite it right now with that. I mean, the chaste tree in the female reproductive has done that many times, but chaste tree, that's a berry, it's a pituitary berry. But again, I'm real careful about that pituitary right now. Let's just get the lymph moving, then you can kick up that pituitary gland. Just spotting and the joy of all the period symptoms: water retention, cravings, weight gain, hair loss, lower back pain. I am pretty frustrated. Don't get too frustrated, sweetheart. Keep hanging in there. Make sure the tumor's all gone. Then you go after that. You can use the female reproductive formula. You can use the pituitary. If you use a pituitary glandular, you only use one twice a day, and you only use 1 bottle. That's all you need. It's a little bitty fella. But get this pituitary, get this tumor out of there first. Then you're done. Then you can hit it as hard as you want. You can bring everything into balance. Everything will be good. Right now you're going to see a little of this, but get that out. It'd be interesting to know if you got that out yet. And don't be frustrated. Honestly, I felt so much more balanced hormone-wise when I didn't have periods. I can't say I blame you. If I was a female, forget those babies. But I had a lot of friends who were fruitarian women, and they just spotted. They hardly even knew they had periods. So keep going for the ultimate Wellville, baby, and you will get there with the periods. Well, that's no big deal, because that shouldn't be a curse on women. It's only a curse because they're high acid, high toxicity levels. Get that straightened around, and you can talk to women that their periods are getting light, easy, everything is nice. What do you think? And that's what I think, Sarah Green. Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much for that. Well, let me see. I've got so much. You guys wrote in a lot here. Oh, my God. This caught my eye here. A minute, please. Okay, so I'm not going to say who this is. They've given permission to show this photo below. They're submitting this on behalf of a client. Our question is, what is the best external helpers? We see options of 1, castor oil packs, 2, clay mud packs, 3, Hill all tea poultices, 4, healing honey poultices, 5, black salve, or any combination of several. She is not doing the all raw diet and is taking some of the MBP herbal formulas. If she uses a salve, what is the purpose? To draw out the marker. Okay, so now medical doctors are doing biopsies of breast tumors and leaving a metal marker in them. Oh. I mean, this modality just doesn't friggin' stop. If it don't stop, it'll be stopped. That's how God works, not me. So, putting a foreign object into a human body is disgraceful. I don't care. It's that arrogant. You'll be back here anyway, honey. I just can't deal with that. And for all you ladies that are up for that, do not have them leave a metal marker in your breasts, because it creates inflammation, and it it makes it worse. I tell you, of our harder cases with breast tumors are the ones that have had the biopsies and the metal markers. Be better to just not simply understand that this is a lymphatic problem, whether there's a cancer cell or not. Who gives a crap? Because you got to get it out of there anyway. And if you freak out because there's a cancer cell, then what they do to you starts becoming the problem. Not the tumor, what they're doing to you. The biopsies have always been problematic. Always caused spreading of things. Always been a problem. Oh no, we'll just go in and get a piece of. Do you really? You know, I've said this also about vaginal exams in females. I've cleaned up so many female cancers and never done one vaginal exam. Give me a friggin' break. You know, all these things that go on in the medical world are unnecessary. Easy to understand when you have a tumor, what's causing it and what you have to do with, guys. And so, I don't know what to say here. Let me show you this. I'm going to call Drew in here. Let me see if I can show you this up as close as possible. For one, that doesn't look real big to me. I don't know if I'm seeing it out of proportion or not. I would probably use some essential oils on that. But also, I tell you, this is just my perspective to your client. Pulling with black salve will pull the tumor right out of the breast. The problem is if you have multiple ones in there, you could be pulling 2 or 3 times. The other problem with pulling with black salve is that now, since your lymph system was not filtering in the breast and you're forming a tumor, these lymph nodes have nowhere to clean themselves. They're backed up because this right kidney or this left kidney isn't filtering. What you have now is the same problem. It's just that you've eliminated 1 tumor or 2 tumors. That's gone. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get another tumor because you haven't fixed the problem. You have to, your client has to fix this problem. So let him review this video, because if she doesn't, then she's going to have the tumor back in the breast or on the chest wall and or in the lungs. All feeds from this whole area here, guys. So that's why you see always the breast, the lung cancer so tightly knit. So this person's got to fix this problem irregardless, or she'll always have problem with that breast. So you might as well cut it off. Well, no, because then you're going to have a tumor grow on the chest wall, right? Right. There is no easy answer to this if you're going medical thinking or even having an herbs to pull it or draw it out. It doesn't look that involved. So I would definitely use more of that drawing salve of ours, a healing salve, light salve, a healing salve. But I would get her on 100% raw and go into the grape fast a little bit, get her kidneys filled, fix this problem. Because you got to fix it someday or another, or it'll be your demise. And it's just not, you're at that point where you're too acidic, you're backing up, forming tumors, you got to fix this. And to fix it, you must, or, you know, you're just taking care of pulling the tumor out. All right, another one's formed, we'll just pull that one out. I mean, you add it, the whole side of the body this is on is in trouble. The whole side of the body. So, really important to fix this properly. I like essential oils for these tumors. They do work real well at healing, helping you. They're oils anyway, anti-acid, anti-inflammatory. There have been med packs. I don't use those. Castor oil packs. You know what? Really, this, unless it's real hard, it doesn't look real hard and red. That's perfect place to be. When it's real dark red and hard, big problem in Little Texas. The problem with the metal clip and the biopsy is now she really needs to fix this the right way, because now it's opened up more interstitially. So now she really has to open up this lymph node and get her kidneys filtering. That's my only answer to this, because any other way is treating your symptom. It doesn't matter how you treat it. I prefer the black salve method because your tumor's out, but at the same time you're going after fixing why you have the tumor, and your kidneys and adrenals are your main eliminative areas. That's your place you got to go to. If she uses the salve, can we expect the body to eventually pull out the marker? I don't know. I've never had anybody pull out the marker. It should draw it and pull it out. If not, I'm telling you what, these guys, the client is not in a position to have surgery to remove the marker, then she needs to go raw. You can do a little black salve on this. You can get it online in places. You get a black salve and pull this out. We'll be glad to help you with our knowledge. Remember, you got to become club members here. And then we can talk all we want about this. On a public forum like this, I do, though, this is my own freedom of speech right, I recommend salves to pull as opposed to radical surgeries. Because you're going in, you're traumatizing tissue, and you haven't done nothing to fix it. And of course, notoriously, you have the tumor back anyway. And the same thing with black salve. Realistically, though, you're removing the tumor. Better way to move it with black salve than surgery, honestly. And to put metal tumor markers in women, where are we going? You know, down to Hellville way. Still going down that way. Do you think the marker is what is causing this open wound? Possibly. It's just causing the inflammation around this. But this is all the lymph system. This just wants to come out. This is not a bad open wound, by the way. I mean, there's so much worse. So she's in a good position here to use some essential oils, maybe use some Heal All tea, but I'd get our salve. We got a little drawing salve here, or use our Heal All salve and put that on it. At the same time, you're going in here and you're moving lymph. And that's real key. I'd get on back neurolymphatic points, use the upper thoracic area and the lumbar area and really work those with the kidney areas and stuff and get that to start moving out of there. Do you think the wound spontaneously appeared about 3 or 4 months ago? It seems to be it seems to not be getting any worse. It doesn't look that bad to me. So like I say, some good healing salves on the outside. But it's just, all this stuff wants to come out. Right? Because it's not coming out the kidneys. You're not sweating it out under her arms. So it's got to come out. And it's going to make a hole. A lot of times they go for the nipple. Because that's where the hole is. They'll go for the nipple. It's like, You know, it's just the body's trying to push this crap out. And if you understand that, then you realize you don't put stuff in because the body's going to want to try to get it out. We use the word inflammation to that respect. So it's just another one of their, I hope, libel things for putting metal clips in women. She is living a normal, busy life and reports no significant pain. She keeps it clean and dressed. Yeah, but she wants it. It may be a little larger than the size of a quarter. Just from my own personal, this is an easy case. This is a simple case. The fact that they put a metal marker in there is just make them take it out when she gets well. But she needs to get those kidneys. If it's just the size of a quarter, this small, and it doesn't look that red and deep, let me tell you, just keep nurturing it with some salve and stuff. Go in and move her lymph system because she's not out of trouble. Her whole side is continuing to get into trouble. This is inside of her. This is systemic. This is all on that one side. And she needs to relax a little more and get her kidneys filtering, my opinion. Thank you for your insights and generosity. Thank you. This is my left breast. She says this is her left breast where the doctor placed a marker to track a location of a biopsy that came back negative. All right, did they take out the metal when they did the biopsy? No, they put it in. Done June of 11. Diagnosed with a cluster of calcium in April 2001. Okay, back in 01, she was diagnosed with a cluster of calcium. So she has calcifications in the breast. What causes calcifications? Where did it come from? Where did the calcium come from? 9 chances out of 10, the connective tissue within the breast itself. 2, acidosis. The same thing that causes the tumor. The same system. Okay? From a mammogram, followed with 2 surgeries because first surgery did not get a wide enough margin. Followed with diagnosis of intraductal carcinoma, stage 0, and 36 radiation. Holy crap. 36 radiation treatments. It's lucky I don't drink. If I do, it's just going to be water. And a little sweet tea once in a while just to settle my nervous. I mean, what the hell are they thinking? 36 treatments, so now your client's in trouble. It can take 1 to 5 years for that radiation to convert those cells to cancer. And now she could have it all. For 36 treatments, she could have lung cancer from this in the future. She must pull this radiation out of her. This radiation, if she's highly acidic, which obviously she is, that radiation will stay there and keep burning. Same thing happens with radiation that happens in chemistry in an acidic medium. Creates an anionic environment. An high environment of acid and chewing down. The fact she had 36 radiation treatments takes it to another level. Radiation is cancer causing. So she let a doctor who treats cancer with cancer causing therapies treat her. Now she has to wake up and learn through you, I hope, that she needs to get this out of her and fix this, or she's facing some more serious problems in a few years. A lot worse. So you got to fix this. This is serious, and it don't take her long to fix this. Doesn't take long. It's a little thing already, so it doesn't take long, and it better fix it. I would forget about trying to pull it out. Let's see, I have been going through something for a while now and really hope you can shed some light on it. All right, let's take a look at this. Who is this? I don't have a name. I have been having a healing crisis for over a month now. Seems like a long healing crisis. And some serious thick mucus from the nose and mouth. You see that thick stuff? That shows how acidic you are. See how thick that mucus can get? Real thick mucus. That's what happens in a highly acidic, dehydrated mucosa. And inside, interstitially, this can get real thick as you hydrate it. It's like the lungs. You can listen. Oh, you're nice and clear. Oh, really? Then all you have to do is start detoxing them, getting a little hydration interstitially in the lymph system, and this mucus starts loosening up a little bit, and it starts coming out, baby. I'll tell you this, if you're still getting copious amounts or a lot of this thick mucus out, you never want to stop it. I don't care if it goes on for 6 months. You never want to stop this thicker mucus from coming out, because that's the things that, honey, where did I park the car comes from. This is the thing that lung masses come from. This is the thing from COPD, from I just keep on the scarring of the lungs, the scarring of the body. I just keep on going on all these things. Coughing up all sorts of colors. Jesus criminy, man, including red. Now, you could get a little blood and mucus coughing up out of the lungs, because remember, this is interstitial, and the capillaries of the blood vessels are there too, and so you can get a little mucus and blood and mucus, and this shows you how inflamed, we use the word, that area is. The mucus itself and the acid that it's supposed to be stopping. So, yeah, this is a big deal. And as of late, blood from the nose that eventually dries up. I'd use the bleeding formula. You know, we talked about that earlier in the case, using that bleeding formula, but I would also consider about the strengthening the capillary walls. It's hard to do when your body's just so full of mucus that that mucus is impacting the health of the walls and everything else. No question about that. So you have to get the mucus out. That's uno number one. But if you're bleeding a little bit, you can use that little bleeding formula a little bit to stop that. But again, it shows you how acidic, how inflamed, how you're losing that capillary wall, how easy it is to bleed a little bit there. A lot of people get those nosebleeds and stuff. Look at your parathyroid gland with this. All that mucus can get in your thyroid, can get in your parathyroid, can get in your voice box, get in your bronchial trunk, get in your sinuses, get in the brain tissue everywhere, get into the lung tissue everywhere, get into the bowel tissue. Do you see my point? Everywhere. This is the lymph system. That's why you see mucus. That's why Arnold Ehret wrote volumes about mucus diet systems and all these things, because he said mucus is at the core of the problem. But what he didn't understand is the gigantic lymphatic system and what that is and why the mucosa produces mucus. And of course, mucus-forming foods, he related that to that. But of course, there's foods that irritate the mucosa. Generally, proteins. I just recently, I would say something really weird happened the second or third week. I can't remember now. I have been having, and I hate to admit this, but it has become and still is very unpleasant. The problem I have been having is anal leakage. It's hard as a guy to admit it, like it, let alone type it out in an email. You know what, though? I know. But you know what? We are a healing modality. We are healers. And you know what? It's nothing sacred to us. You know, we see guts and glory and tumors and anal leakage and everything else. I don't even worry about it, man. We are right into the sewage of people. We're healers. We got to go into the gnarliest and the worst of conditions, the necrotic cells and all kinds of smells, and fix them. And we can do it. And we do it. And you do it. Meaning we. Well, I'm going to say get that parathyroid strengthened up. I'm going to say get on the GI broom if you can. Definitely the stomach and bowel formulas. Get on the lymphatics. Get on a program if you can afford it. Get on. If you're not, go on a minor one. Get on some of them. Have them help you here and get yourself going down that line of cleaning and strengthening, cleaning and strengthening. Then that fissure will strengthen, or sphincter will strengthen. Everything will strengthen. And that's what you want to do, because kind of wonder about how that relates to also that bleeding easy. You know, again, I want to think parathyroid, connective tissue, sphincter, valves, etc., getting weaker. If you have a mitral valve prolapse or a heart murmur, that might be another little head up. If you have some spider veins, varicose veins, you have a hernia, there's another little head up for parathyroid connective tissue issues. So don't feel shy about that. For the most part, now, gentlemen, all about getting to help and helping others. Exactly. This is what we're all here, guys. And we all have our genetics and our weaknesses and our problems to work through. Me as well. Nobody's above another here in any way, shape, or form. And you won't see that from me. At this point, it has been going on for a few weeks now. At first, I thought it was because my head and throat was discharging mucus, that something must have woken up in the back end as well, and figured it would stop. Well, you might be getting a discharge there, but I also want to think you need to strengthen up some connective tissue there. I would do the stomach and bowel formulas, so clean up that bowel up, better that way. And just clean and strengthen. I don't know if it is lymph, mucus, or fecus that's leaking. Probably more mucusy, liquid. Could be from the mucosa of the gut, absolutely. And it just shows inflammation, and you're getting a leakage of the mucosa. But also, you could have had that thick on there, and now you're hydrating. And as you're hydrating that, you're getting that run from that. And that's called a cationic environment. So an anionic is a coagulated environment. A cationic obviously is an environment of movement, of flux, of activity. And so that's what you're creating in you, and that's why you might be seeing this, which would show that your mucosa was hardened, things like this. And now that you're loosening all this up, you're now getting that out of there. But you could, if you wanted to, you could do some small implants of Heal-All-T. Do you an enema and clean yourself up a little bit with the Heal-All-T, or just small implants right there to the rectal area to strengthen that rectal wall, to kind of clean it there. Not enough to give you a bowel movement, but just a little insertion with a enema bag and a little Heal-All-T right up in there. Cook you up some tea, get it down to skin temperature, and then insert it there. It happens when just sitting at my desk or walking, while driving, pretty much anywhere and any place, and also have to assume while sleeping. Sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't. Yeah, it's your body's definitely discharging waste and mucus and stuff like this. There's no question about it. But you're in the process of hydrating. But it also tells me you got a real backed up lymph system, is what this sounds like, really bad. Hi. Let's say hi.
I wanted to tell you, I'm getting ready to go to lunch. I want to tell you to have a happy Memorial Day.
Oh,
well,
thank you.
And everyone else to have a happy Memorial Day.
We're off, I heard.
Yes.
We're never off on holidays. We got to be working. We got too much to do.
Well, we got to rest. You got to have that.
Oh, that's right. We got to rest.
You work hard. You play hard.
And I rest hard. Well, thanks, sweetheart. You have fun?
Alrighty.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
Good. Alrighty. It is painful, red, and irritated. See, and that painful, red, and irritation is acidosis. That's just what that is. So you have to fix that. So I'm going to do a little implant there on the rectal area and clean that up. It's even uncomfortable to walk, do my job. I bet it is. So you want to get after that. I'd use the stomach and bowel number 1 if you're moving your bowels pretty well. I would definitely move to more, maybe do a little salads, to do a little cleaning, a little more aggressive cleaning on the wall there. So maybe do at least 1 or 2 salads a day and then the rest fruit if you want to slow that up a little bit and focus more on the GI tract a little bit. But at the same time, I think you're going to see more of this hydration going on. Make sure your kidneys are filtering, your adrenals are up. And check your parathyroid gland. If me, I'd probably do a bottle of parathyroid 1-3 times a day if it was me, and I would also do the bones formula to strengthen. I figured it would have stopped, but the healing crisis with nose and throat is still going on. Yeah, it just sounds like your body's just getting hydrated and cleaning itself, just letting it all just kind of ooze out and come on out. And you can help that again by getting aggressive with the diet. It'll get through it a little faster, kicking it up a little more on a grape fast, getting the kidneys to filter, getting the adrenals up to help all that happen. And that's how you stop these things. I have tried some cooked food to temporarily binge things up. No, I wouldn't. With even some form of potatoes here and there, I wouldn't. Because this is telling me you've got this body needs to get rid of this acid sewage, and that's why the red and irritation. And you could get a little blistering on the anus there, a little from this too. So you got to keep yourself kind of cleaned from this because you're oozing all over the place. You need to get this out. This is the stuff found in tumors. This is the stuff we're talking about. You got to get it out of there. He's doing this to temporarily bind things up. So as your stool's loose as well, then I wouldn't use the GI broom, but I sure would use stomach and bowel number 1. Probably go to salads. They're a little more constipating than fruit. I am occasionally here and there, but the cooked food didn't and hasn't helped now. I can't afford any herbs at the moment, but would love to know how, or I can. You know what? I tell you what, either contact Chris or Brenda and have them go back on the free shelf and see what we have left to put you on a protocol. Need stomach and bowel number 1, kidney, adrenal, lymph. I'll put Chris and or Brenda. All right, and see if we can help you with that because you want to get this done. Suggestion, grape fast. Grape and lemon juice. Go on a fast here for a few weeks. Start cleaning yourself out a lot more aggressively. I don't care what you see. Start getting this stuff hydrated, your body hydrated and pulling this out. This is why the beauty with herbs, and I know there's some people that can't afford them, and that's a disgusting part of that. So I have been noticing from time to time a tinny bit of blood when I finished up in the bathroom. See, this is serious stuff, guy. This is a serious stuff. So that's why if you have no money, you got to call in here and talk to one of those two and see if we can't find something for you and help you with this because you want to fix this because you're walking up to some danger zones here. I would also mention that besides when just sitting, walking, standing, or doing nothing, all the leakage happens. Also occurs when I pass gas. Oh yeah. Oh no, I know that. I already know that. So this is important. Important case. But at least get the T's. And I'll put need heal all. And I'll put stomach. That'll check inflammation. That'll do some healing power against that mucosa. But also, yeah, I'm gonna have to. You really need to call in and talk to one of these guys so we can kind of get some semblance. Have you fill out some paperwork so we can kind of get an idea of what's all going on with you. But you want to stop this. This, even though we could lump that under a healing crisis. What it means is serious. So you want to get this fixed because colon cancer would be something you would be thinking about. Some other things going on here. You're really getting some. You really got to fix that, okay? And so we'll get in there and get that done. But get on the grapes and the lemon juice and try to get some detox going. And even if you get real loose stools, you really want to open this up here. I am a 48-year-old mother of 3 children, ranging in age from 23 to 29. Grown children. I happened to hear your name mentioned by Dan McDonald in one of his videos 2 weeks ago. Hey, Dan. Did he get them up right? I mean, why did they take Dan's videos down? I can't see any reason to take Dan's videos down off of YouTube. I don't know why they took his videos down. I hope he got them up. That was sad. I felt that was unwarranted, you know. I looked up you online, went to your website. You are located just 40 minutes from where I live. Look at that. Look at that. You should be making an appointment with Marcy and getting in here, honey. Look at that, 40 minutes where I live. I watched your YouTube video on the Great Lymphatic System. It made total sense to me. Those videos told me why my children, my husband of 30 years, and myself are suffering from autoimmune disorders. Thank you very much. Lupus, there you go. For my daughter, RA, it doesn't matter what you call it. It can be RA. They all lump them under the same. Doesn't matter what factors are involved, same problems. Yep. And Shogun's for me. I had 3 lymph nodes. Oh, honey. I had 3 lymph nodes removed from my groin to rule out lymphoma. Oh, you know, these guys are they just send me now into these worlds of, I don't know, you know, of nothingness. And to remove a lymph node to see that they're not lymphomas. Oh my God. Now, you gotta hope you don't have any swelling of that leg. Never remove groin tumors. Oh my God, or lymph nodes. Holy crap. ADHD for my youngest son, depression for my older son, prostate cancer for my husband at age 48. You guys got some serious kidney problems going on here. 48 2 years ago. Doctors told him that his best option was surgery to remove the prostate. After looking at just a few videos of yours, I immediately ordered the Fab 4 with stomach and bowel number 2 and the Hill OT for myself. Smart thinking, especially for your hubby. I don't know if he's already removed that prostate or what, but it won't stop the hip from going down. It won't stop his knees. It won't stop anything else. Because this is all the lymph system all through him, just like in you guys. And of course, you know your daughter and them are all going to be down in the adrenals and kidneys, so you go see systemic inflammation, call it RA, call it whatever you want, right? Absolutely. Lupus, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because they can't cure any of that stuff in the ways that they're thinking. So change that understanding and know that it's the lymph system and you can cure it right away. No problem. It has only been just a week, and it has had a tremendous effect on me. Good God. Good job on yourself. My blood pressure has dropped. The joint pain and swelling in my ankles have gone down. See how that is? And you keep working it, and pretty soon you'll be all done. You'll be out of trouble. All your lymph will be clean. All the inflammation will be gone. All the acids will be gone. Everything will rebuild, and you'll be in good shape. Husband the same way, the daughters and kids. But remember, the kids are weaker. So they have a little more work with ADHD, you know, neurotoxicity. You also know the adrenal glands are down. Kidneys are going to be down too. So you want to get into them. The brain and nerve is excellent for that. Upper circuit, of course, you want to go there. But you want to get into the adrenals and kidneys just like you would on each one of the family members here. See, I like moms who take care of their families and are looking out for them and how to take care of them better. This is a good mom right here. I convinced my husband to give it a try. He is a huge... skeptic of everything. Yeah, we shouldn't be too skeptic, hubby, too long because Mr. Prostate not good to lose family jewel. Understand chemistry and physics, man. Don't be a skeptic. It blocks truth. Be open to truth. And so, open to truth means that you're not going to believe everything you read. You're going to buck it up, but you don't buck it up against false information. You don't buck it up against propaganda. You buck it up with what science is factual, not theories. You don't buck it up against things that are false, because then you never find the truth, and you believe you waste your time believing in theories that don't exist, belief systems that don't hold any water. I mean, let's go allopathic for a minute. With the allopathic belief system, everyone should be cured, right? Not one person is cured. Come on. You can't say surgery is curative because that's not true. It's true in the sense that it'll help a person live longer if you remove a breast or something, there's a tumor in it, but it's not curative to the lymph system. It doesn't cure and rebuild tissue of the human body. Not at all. It's not what it's for. Without sounding crazy, I had to be careful to present this without sounding crazy. There's nothing crazy about sewer systems and immune systems and how the body works. There's nothing crazy about it. You know, common sense is simple and easy to understand and it's factual and truthful. And everybody can recognize it. He has worked in the medical field for 25 years. Now, that might be, but he's a fireman and medic. So he's not on so much the medical doctor side, but I've worked years in that side too, guys. And but he's on the good side. He's a firefighter and medic. So he just has to learn how the body works a little better. And then also, as a fireman and medic, there's a lot of little tricks he can do out in the field to help to pull these people back while they're being transported to the ER. There's a lot of cool little tricks, my friend, that you can use there. From neurolymphatic points, I remember I've tried to pull 3 people out of cardiac arrest with my thumb in their foots. I got another one to tell you sometime. You'll laugh. He also had a really rough time with his recovery from the prostate surgery. I suppose they took it out, especially erectile dysfunction. Do you think? I am not sure if there is anything that can help him with this. Well, he had it removed. He didn't have the welfare all to fix it. And, I don't blame him. He's in the field. He believed his medical people, but he needs to wake up now. Because now, at his early age, he's affected his manliness. Is there any help for him? You know what? I just go make everything healthy. Go make adrenals healthy. He still's got testicles unless they cut those babies off. So he can make everything healthy, get all this inflammation out, all this acid out, and hopefully he'll produce enough testosterone to give him a little strength there. I've known people to still get erections with prostates removed, but as a rule, generally that pretty much pastures you out there. But you still have the testicles, and you still have the adrenal glands and the kidneys, so make everything healthy. Learn what causes these problems. Learn these videos, and you'll wake up to a whole new world, and you'll fix your whole family and have a good life the rest of it. If not, there's some Hellbill stuff here. And your hubby's got lower backs and hips and every other thing to think about with this too. I did get him to start in on the Fab 4. Good job. I had to order more, as with us both take. I know. I am trying to do the melons and berries every morning. The rest of my family cannot eat melons, all due to allergies. Look at how everybody's lymphatic up in your family, dear one. Your whole family's a lymphatic mess. Well, don't go to the melons and go to the fruit or something. You got to get their lymphs. Once you get their lymphs moving a little bit and everything, they won't have this problem. Should they all start on something, clean up the lymph? Yeah. Give everyone a kit. That'll deworm the whole family. To everybody a kit. Let everybody take a kit and go for it. See if they'll give you some kind of deal for 4 kits or whatever. And ask them and see. You can always barter, maybe, back there. They can, however, eat berries, but not too many. Any suggestions aside from the kit already ordered? Good. Also, I would like to thank you for the start of this journey to the wellness of... thanks, Sandy. Good lady, Sandy. I tell you, I love moms like you. Good conscious thinker, aware person. You do your best with the hubby. Remember, males tend to be the acid side, but he's a good fireman paramedic. If he catches this, because we got a ton of firemen and paramedics on our side that are doing this. We also have a huge 400-strong nurses holistic nursing association just right up in Sarasota. This isn't these guys can pick up and really grow with this, and your husband can turn his job into becoming a healer and heal all his people, because right now we have firefighters all over this country on raw foods. We have firefighters detoxifying. We have medics detoxifying. We have all kinds of people. So we don't have to let our medical knowledge interfere. We can put it in proper perspective and understand what was taught to us wrong and what was taught to us right. And we can integrate and we can understand what we have to do. In a fireman paramedic thing, he has to use chemical meds. But he can also, there's a little tricks you can carry with you, things you can have that'll help keep your people out of shock and help you keep people out of cardiac arrest without cracking sternums. There's all kinds of things you can do our way that's really cool, especially for birds. There's all kinds of neat things there. Well, let me see here. We've done a lot, and I think that's enough for today. Look at how much I got while I was gone for a week. You guys really sent me some good questions, too. I really love this. Oh, it's Girl Gone Raw. Oh, hi, Girl Gone Raw. Listen, I love all you guys, and thank you all for tuning in and taking an active role in your own well-being and in your friends' well-being. This is the greatest side of life there is feeling well, having a higher sense of awareness, not being trapped, being emotionally strong, and having your joy back, having fun in life back. You know, because that's when we've gotten too strict, too sick, too sad, too depressed. All these things. Remember, depression, parathyroid, by the way, Sandy. So remember that. Look at the endocrine glands in your family as well. ADHD, upper circuit, brain and nerve. Remember neurotoxins, and also remember the adrenals. Everybody here, adrenals and kidneys. Hubby big time. So remember that. Got to fix hubby's adrenals, or he's in for some serious stuff. Go on down that road. Wait a minute. This is another one. Girl gone raw. I'm still doing great. No IC. Interstitial cystitis, still healed. However, my honey decided to follow suit and start eating more fruits and veggies. Good. He's been high on raw for 4 weeks now, and about 3 weeks into it, his psoriasis has gone crazy, babe. We'll plan on that, and I'll say that. It happens. I've done a lot of psoriasis in my time, and once in a while, they'll kick up. Remember I told you the guy from Texas, he had whipping cream coming out of his psoriasis. Talk about nasty. But that just shows you how gnarly under that skin, subcutaneously under that skin, can be tied to those lymph nodes, how that sewage can build up down there. Ugh. So, this is the case. You know what? Salt water. If you have to get a bathtub of skin temperature water, salt, Celtic, real Himalayan salt, get up to the ocean, start getting it, salt baths. It'll help knock that down a little bit. Anything alkaline, to cool him down. But his body's going to expectorate. Now, what that's telling me is just why he has it. What other eliminative organs are you going to consider with the psoriasis? You're right. Kidneys, girl gone wild. Raw kidneys. I don't know a girl's gone wild. I don't know anything about that. Kidneys. Your honey has got kidneys. They're not filtering. So this individual must get their kidneys filtering. And that'll take the pressure off the skin elimination. But when you see your skin, whether it's acne, psoriasis, or whatever, getting worse when you're detoxifying, it's just showing your kidneys aren't filtering. And if they are, you're just cleaning the subcutaneous out of the thing. But just tell them, hang in there, salt baths. That'll cool that inflammation down. However, it is not forming dry scabs anymore, but red itchy spots. Well, there's a lot of fungus probably, so I'd keep him on high parasite M for a while. Salt baths in the bathtub or in the ocean. Everywhere. He said he's had psoriasis for 24 years. So he's had 24 years of sewage from cells that have gone nowhere but backed up, and oozing out the skin. That's a lot of years, a lot of sewage. So just disrespect the time it's going to take him to get this cleared up. But cleared up it will. Look at Shannon. Shannon had psoriasis head to toe, all gone, or at least most of it's gone. And she knew it took raw to do it, and she kept messing around. Real bad. Some of you have seen her before. Real bad. Now go look at her now. Because she's doing the do. Matter of fact, our whole clinic, our whole company is doing the do. This is the first time I've seen Chris and Drew 100% raw. These guys are knocking it. Since he was 12 years old. So her honey has had their kidneys failing since that long, and never had it so bad. It's just coming from inside, guys. Tell him it's not the psoriasis. Don't label it a disease. It's not a disease. This is acids and sewage coming out of your body. Like I say, get into a salt bath. That'll break it down a little bit, but get those kidneys filtering. 2 kidney formulas, adrenals, hit hard with that. Worse before it gets better, but we are both concerned. Always worse before better, but especially with skin problems. Don't be concerned. Ultimately, we don't want it to stay this bad. It won't, but get into the salt baths and stuff. I'm glad I picked this one up. I'm going to order the Fab 4. This guy really needs to get aggressive and detox, honey. 2 lymphatics, 2 kidneys, and the adrenals at least. You can add the skin tincture in there. Now that could kick it up a little bit too because it's real aggressive, but that's okay. Keep that body in salt baths, washing the body. Salt will help break down that inflammation. It's acidosis. So salt is alkaline base. So remember what you do. You're doing the same thing, but you're topically giving them a little bit of reprieve. It'll back this down a little bit. My question is clearly the adrenals and kidneys are not functioning properly. You guys are so smart. I love you guys. So should we leave out the lymph tincture for now? Leave him one. I'd keep him on one lymph tincture, but not two. That'll reduce. Good thinking, sweetheart. You guys are so good. I love you guys. You guys will make some really good healers. You guys we'll work you all through all your clients and your friends. Pretty soon you'll feel strong and you'll know what to do and when things happen. So good questions. Thanks for time. We are blessed now. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, just work with him that way. I'll come in and try to get most of these caught up. But we got so many here. But I wanted to do a couple of these for you to have some idea of what you do in these cases. I love you guys. You guys have done so well. It's a pleasure. I'm going to take off the rest of this week. I am going to come in and try to shoot videos as we go along here this week, maybe Monday too, since we have it off and everybody's off here. We generally work all our holidays, so having a day off for them, that's probably really good, you know. We're kind of workaholics around here. But thank you so much for tuning in, and keep it up. Keep up the good work. And keep yourself well and happy no matter what. Always detach yourself from your mind. Get a hold of your consciousness, your awareness. Quiet that mind down. Everything's already stored. All that information's always there. Don't feel like you always have to be thinking, because whenever you want it, it's right there. But you must be there, awake to watch it come in. Love you guys. Namaste. May the blessings be, and have fun this weekend. And for those of you who are suffering, hang in there. It's just a matter of time. You know, I've said this. Detox is the golden key. So it's just a matter of time. And where are you on the journey of detox? What level are you? Do you need to get more aggressive? Do you need to back up? So you play within that. So I've always said, it's just a matter of time, or it's your time. If you're so advanced that you can't get this, there are some people that will pass. You want me to go for you? See what I'm saying? That's where the beauty begins. This is when the true adventure. You're in hell now. You're just trying to get yourself happy and healthy in hell. Once you pull out of these heavy chemical worlds and you get into the more energetic light bodies, nirvana, happiness, joy, ecstasy. What words can I use? So if it's your time, relax. Get rid of this human body, and if you want another, you'll recycle. But if you've been working on yourself spiritually, perhaps you won't be recycling down in these lower chemical levels. You'll have a lot more fun. But take care of yourselves. The most important thing is your awareness, who you are. So always work spiritually to try to control that mind, because all the answers are not in the mind. That's the problem. The mind is just conditioned states of thinking. Some of it's just propaganda. Some of it is not true at all. And we live our lives sometimes hanging on untruths. Don't be one of those, because only you pay the price. I love you guys. Have a good day, and we'll see you later.